You're watching Fox Sports, home to the World Series, Super Bowl 36, and tomorrow, the 43rd running of the great American race, the Daytona 500. Tomorrow, right here in historic Daytona, the Super Bowl of auto racing will take place. But first things first, right now it's the Busch Series kicking off with its richest and most important event of the year. This is a race that the Intimidator won a record 7 times, the Napa 300. Next, it's 120 laps of in-your-face, ultra-high intensity. A serious race called the Napa 300, and it's right here on Fox. Welcome to the Napa Auto Parts 300 pre-race show, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running.
And welcome to one of the truly special places in sports on the eve of the Daytona 500 today. The Busch Series has its own great race at the world-famous Daytona International Speedway. It's the Napa 300, more than $1.6 million at stake. That's the richest purse in the history of the Busch Series, in a sense like a AAA All-Star game with some Major League stars mixed in. Hi, I'm Chris Myers, coming to you from just above Victory Lane, and welcome to Busch's opening day and Fox's very first telecast of a Busch race as well. Joining me to help us through the race all day long, Jeff Hammond, former crew chief of a Daytona 500 winner, and Ken Squire, who's witnessed 36 different Daytona 500 races, as well as the Busch races that we'll see today. And when I think the name Busch, especially these days, I think strategery. So what kind of strategery will we see in this Busch race?
Now, what kind of word is that, Chris?
Well,
Come on,
that's a racing term for strategy.
Oh, that's a new one on your side.
So, yes.
Well, I can tell you one thing right now. You can forget any kind of strategy here today. These guys are all pumped up. I was down in the garage area earlier, and I'm talking about the adrenaline is already flowing. When you come to down here to Daytona, everybody gets all pumped up. You got 2 veterans on the front, but you've also got 3 rookies in the top 10. It's going to be unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen here with this race. It is going to be one whale of a shootout. I mean, you better pull the belts tight, lock and load, and get ready for one heck of a ride.
6 rookies will be going 190 miles per hour. It could get dicey. Let's get down to pit road and our Dick Berggren. Dick?
There are 13 Pontiacs in today's race. Those Pontiacs are so fast that 9 of them have qualified in the top 10. They're so quick, in fact, they've intimidated the drivers of other brands who said maybe they don't have a chance. One of those drivers, Kevin Harvick in a Chevy. Have you got a chance to beat the Pontiacs?
I tell you what, them things are pretty dang tough, and we work for a team that doesn't give up in Richard Childress Racing, and we're going to take our Chevrolet, and it doesn't matter what we got to do. We're going to give it everything we got, and hopefully the Pontiacs don't line up. So sides, fenders, whatever we got to do.
Good luck to you. To Matt Yoakum.
1 year ago, Jeff Green changed the color of his driving shoes from black to blue, then took a wild ride down the front stretch. The next week, he went back to basic black and then won the title. This year, he changed his colors again, manufacturer colors. How well will your new package stack up against those fast Pontiacs, Jeff?
Well, we hope the Ford stacks up really well. Well, they did yesterday pretty good in the happy hour. Never got to run with a Joy and Nemechek, and they're probably the class of the field, so we hope we can. The car really, our Ford Taurus really drove well yesterday, and just glad for Nesquik to be back with us, and hopefully I'm not going to do that again what we did last year. We got a lot of publicity out of it, but we want to try to get in victory lane and get all the publicity today.
He was best in class, but will roll off 14. Chris?
All right, thanks, Matt. Jeff Green just referenced the crash. You know, he won last year's Busch Championship by a record 616 points, but this is what he was talking about as he wrecked and actually walked away, finishing 42nd. Back at 98, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his Busch rookie season had his own mishap on the backstretch. He, too, went on to win the championship. Today's race, just the first of 33 on the Busch schedule, so the title won't be won or lost in this race, but it could set the tone. Randy LaJoie, the only driver to win the season-opening race and then go on to win the championship. Meanwhile, weather could be one of the most important factors for this entire weekend for both the Napa 300 today and tomorrow's Daytona 500. Let's take a look at our Fox Racing radar as you see the state of Florida here, and 75 degrees the current temperature. These are the up to the second conditions. The humidity at about 69% as you get a look from above, and winds blowing lightly. The forecast is for light rain. Some of it has appeared to have moved through the area and is moving beyond the area. And let's get a thought from our crew chief, Jeff Hammond. You've been successful on this track, a handling track. What do these kind of uncertain weather conditions do to today's race?
Well, Chris, right now, a big curve's been thrown to these crew chiefs. What's going on is, yesterday when they did all their testing and practice, it was sunny. Engine tuners had the engines just where they want them. This morning they get up, the wind is up, humidity's changing, and it's cloudy. All of a sudden, the cars are going to get tighter. Everybody right now is really scratching their head, trying to figure out what they need to do so they can be ready to make the right choices here this morning.
And just another factor, Ken, for these drivers to worry about, quality Busch drivers who are really the AAA of the Winston Cup racers.
Oh, yeah. You've got 6 or 7 Winston Cup stars out here. You've got 6 rookies, but it's the others, the sophomores. Now, this race historically has had what politically correct folks would call incidents, what other folks would call just plain old-fashioned wrecks. And the very first race they ran here, they piled up 37 up here in turn 4. It was some jam session. And when you get these young guys that are twitchy and nervous and they're trying to perform, because this is everything for them. The owners are here, the sponsors are here, the critics are up there, and their future is here. So it's all on the line in this 300-mile race for so much new racing talent. It's going to be a good race.
All right, Pontiac, the first 7 spots. Chevy has won this race the most times, 16. We're getting closer to the start of the biggest race in the Busch Series, the Napa 300. Coming up, we'll compare the Busch cars with the Winston Cup cars. Let's take a look at Matt Kenseth's number 17 Busch car and then his number 17 Winston Cup car. They look the same, but there's a big difference. We'll explain that. And as John Cougar Mellencamp would say, Owensboro, Kentucky is just a small town. But find out why it's big among racing fans. Fox Racing continues in a moment. A look from above as the fans out to see the stars of tomorrow today at Daytona International Speedway. Today, the Budweiser.com airship providing this view. The first big race of the NASCAR season, about 20 minutes away. Meanwhile, down on the track, some of the Busch stars that we'll be keeping an eye on. A veteran front row. There's front row Joe Nemechek, the pole sitter, also in the Daytona 500. 2-time Busch Series champ Randy LaJoie. Meanwhile, Matt Kenseth, the defending 300 champ. Last year, he won the Winston Cup Coca-Cola 600. Last year's truck champ Greg Biffle making his 3rd career start in the Busch Series. And finally, Owensboro, Kentucky native David Green, who won the Busch Championship in '94. He and his brother Jeff, the only brother combo to win the Busch titles. They'll get their cars ready and ready to hit the track. Coming up, we'll talk to Darrell Waltrip on Fox. Don't go away. And welcome back live to Daytona and the Napa 300 pre-race show. More than 100,000 fans making their way in for a big weekend on the eve of the Great American Race, and fans buying up merchandise of their favorite drivers. Dale Earnhardt Sr., the leader in that category. Jeff Gordon, also one of the more popular drivers, as NASCAR fans are loyal to their brand and loyal to their races, and will be a part of 250,000 people that will watch the Daytona 500 on Sunday. And welcome back to Daytona and our Fox Racing. The difference between Winston Cup cars and Busch cars is like the difference between Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. You see, they both kind of look the same, but like Dr. Evil, Winston Cup cars are more powerful. And like Mini-Me, Busch cars are harder to handle. Let's take a look here exactly on a breakdown. You see the difference in horsepower, miles per hour, and overall, the cars in Busch are less expensive and about 100 pounds lighter. But the biggest difference may be the spoiler. And for more on that and a clearer explanation, let's go to our crew chief, Jeff Hammond. Jeff?
That's right, Chris. 15 degrees to be exact between a Busch car and a Winston Cup car. As you see here on the screen, the Busch car on the left, 55 degrees, no gurney lip on the top, while the Winston Cup spoiler is 70 degrees and a 1-inch gurney lip on top, which creates drag for the Busch cars. Another interesting differences are the carburetors. Here is a 390 Busch carburetor. If you notice, small hole here. Winston Cup carburetor, 830, bigger hole, flows more air, more horsepower. But what controls that is a restrictor plate. Restrictor plate goes between the carburetor and the engine and controls airflow. As you see right now, this is a 15/16 Winston Cup plate. Below it, a 29/32 Busch plate. Not a lot of difference if you notice the red line here, but that right there is worth 30 horsepower and 3.5 miles an hour to a competitor.
All right, thanks, Jeff. That restrictor plate, it goes over, he eats off that thing. The Napa 300, just minutes away here. Jeff and Ken are going to make their predictions who to look for in the race. But first, coming up, good old DW. He's going to get into a little trouble with the law. Can you believe that? He tells us why his home is the real home to NASCAR. Even today, Darrell owns Owensboro. That's ahead.
Bought a go-kart right there one time.
Hey, look at DW.
And this one.
Looking pretty good. All right, there's another good one. Yes, sir.
Check. Welcome back to Daytona. Michael Waltrip, one of the 6 drivers racing in both the 300 today and the 500 tomorrow. Even though he's never won a Winston Cup race, Waltrip has 8 career wins in the Busch Series. Meanwhile, his older brother, Darrell Waltrip, a former Busch driver, the two have always been inseparable. Now, let's take a look at some photos. If Darrell is Jaws, we call Michael Baby Snapper. And there they are as youngsters watching Fox, no doubt. About a 16-year difference between Michael and Darrell, and they have stayed close over the years. Welcome back to Daytona, Florida, and Fox's coverage of the Napa 300. Owensboro, Kentucky's Jeff Green is about to defend his Busch Series championship today, and much like Western Pennsylvania is a breeding ground for NFL quarterbacks like Namath, Montana, Marino, and Kelly. Little Owensboro, where the Waltrips grew up, is a hotbed for some of today's hottest NASCAR drivers.
Owensboro, Kentucky. This place is a very famous little town. Let me first tell you where it is. It's on the Ohio River. And you may say, well, so what? We're talking about one little town that's produced myself, my brother, Jeremy Mayfield, the Greens, and a number of NASCAR mechanics. So why is Owensboro producing all these winning drivers? I ain't talking lamb here, I'm talking mutton. You understand what I'm saying? You eat this kind of food, and it'll put a lot of lead in your right foot.
I see a championship in each one of the boys, David, Mark, and Jeff. I see a championship or champion in all of them.
Oh, man, I tell you what, there ain't nothing like coming to Owensboro and going to the Moonlight and getting your fill of that good barbecue. I got to go by Pedley's garage and see what those boys are doing. Your little curb service here? I need an oil change. I worked hard, didn't I?
You worked good.
I need to have been driving for you all them years. No telling how many races I'd have won.
I don't imagine you'd won any, not in that class.
What do you think the secret is to our success?
Give the police department a whole lot of credit.
You know, I jumped that track right there one time, all 4 wheels off the ground. I think we'll run by my old home place and see what that looks like. Right here, 648 Greenbrier Street. Is where the Wild Child was born, right back there in that garage. I don't think any of my stuff's here anymore. What do you remember the most about us?
About you going up and down the road in a go-kart.
Keeping y'all awake all the time? Hot town, summer in the city. Back of my neck getting dirty and gritty. Hot town, summer in the city. There goes one of my buddies there. Yeah, hey, how you doing, Pard? We're gonna go see Miss Judy Mayfield, Jeremy's mother. Hey, Judy.
When we raced, we didn't give each other slack.
So you
that's
raced
serious.
against each other?
Did
you beat him?
Twice.
It might be a compliment to say, you know, you drive like your mama. I think I'll go out by the high school. I'm going to show you the track where I ran on foot, maybe even introduce you to my principal, if I can find him. But here's Owensboro, 50-odd thousand people, and one driver right after another just comes out of here and is successful. Now, there must be something.
It is. Darrell Waltrip. they followed you. I wrote him a note one time. He may not remember this, and I told him, you know, having learned your driving skills on the back parking lot at Davis County High School, you were really doing well, and we're real proud of you.
I'm gonna get you, baby. We're going back this little road here. They call it Kentucky Motor Speedway. Jeremy and Michael and the Greens, they all raced here, and those guys, they just followed in the same footsteps that I did. This is what racing is all about here. These little bull rings, as we call them. It's when you learn, this is how you learn how to race. You got to be ready to move on a track like this.
It's amazing because they kept saying, well, I'm going to make it big time, you know, and I think you spoiled all of them because they didn't know they couldn't do it.
Well, gee whiz, guys, it's getting pretty late. We got to get back to town and put the cow in the barn.
A lot of these old stores and all, they weren't even here back in the war. We're not getting pulled over here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can I see your license, please?
Well, I'd like to show them to you, but I don't have them with me.
What's your name, sir?
Darrell Waltrip.
I believe if you're the same Darrell Waltrip I know, we've got several warrants for you for speeding. Can you step out for me, please?
I haven't gotten a ticket in like maybe 20 years.
Yeah, you want to place your hands up here on the car?
Don't blow the horn, come back and help me.
I guess there's not that many Darrell Waltrip fans here in Owensboro like you thought there might be, huh?
You know, that's one reason why I didn't come back home too often.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys.
And Darrell Waltrip joining us from the broadcast booth. You didn't know that you were going to be pulled over, did you, Darrell?
No, I didn't know that, but I was not terribly surprised. I've never been to Owensboro when I didn't get pulled over for something.
Did you try that old spiel about all the speeding helps me to prepare for my career? Did that ever work?
Those policemen in that town, as my principal said, probably were as responsible for our success as anything, because we could work all through the week racing with those guys around town. But Owensboro's a special little town. I want to show you something.
Yeah, what do you have there?
That's my 58 Ford. That's a 1966. I threw that thing on a flatbed truck and hauled it down here, and Paul Friels and Madge Friels built that old thing, and we come down here and I run the Saturday race and had a really good weekend. I finished about 21st, I think it was, and Owensboro is just it's a great place to grow up. It's middle America, great place to grow up, good family values, all the things this sport stands for. I think that's what the secret. I don't know if we answered the question or not. Everybody said, why do all these drivers come? I think we just added to the confusion, if the truth be known.
Well, some great drivers obviously coming from there. It's always nice to go home. And hopefully you send you to driver's school. Thanks, Darrell. We look forward to listening to you and Mike Joy in the broadcast booth with Larry McReynolds. All right, coming up, we're going to have some final thoughts and predictions. And the command to start our engines. You know, we talked about NASCAR family affair, defending Busch champ Jeff Green. Another example, David and Mark, his brothers, the three Green brothers in today's race, all from Owensboro, Kentucky. As you saw Darrell Waltrip giving us a tour. Fox Racing and the Napa 300 continuing here live from Daytona in a moment. Don't go away. And welcome back to Daytona. We're getting ready for the Napa 300 just a few moments away. You know, we talked with Darrell Waltrip. He's won the Napa 300 5 times. One year he won it, went on to win the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt has won it the most, 7 times. But before we actually see the open of this race, Jeff Hammond, your thoughts on who you like in this race and why?
Well, Chris, right now I'm going to go with a dark horse, my buddy Chad Little. Reason why, in 1995, he started at 42nd and came on to win this race. His crew is very confident, and I believe he is really motivated right now, and I know he likes this racetrack.
All right, Ken, how about you?
I'm going to go with the guy that's on the outside of the front row. He'll put that pedal right through the firewall. Randy LaJoie, he's won this thing 2 times. Watch for him to break out early.
All right, and briefly, what about the guys that are in this race, Jeff, that are also in the Daytona 500? How does it play for them?
Well, this is a good tune-up for them. And these guys here, as far as Michael Waltrip's concerned, they get a chance to fine-tune those drafting skills and see whether or not they can pick anything up that might help them for tomorrow.
Only 2 of the prior winners of the 300 are in the race today, Joe Nemechek and Matt Kenseth. The big Busch race, the Napa 300 next on Fox. In a moment, you'll join Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, Mr. Owensboro, and Larry McReynolds, his former crew chief. They'll have the call for you on Fox, and we'll be with you throughout the entire weekend with all the latest leading up to tomorrow's Daytona 500, the Great American Race. I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for being with us. We're rolling along here on Fox.
Tonight, on the eve of the Daytona 500, John Walsh is in Florida to expose the killing of a NASCAR legend. An America's Most Wanted special, all new, 9/8 Central tonight on Fox.
Over 100,000 fans have swarmed into Daytona International Speedway for NASCAR's Busch Series to start its season. 43 cars are set to roll for 300 miles. Last year, Jeff Green's championship chase got started on the wrong side of the asphalt. Up and over he went on the 13th lap in this race that always produces the unexpected. Michael Waltrip got turned around, sent topsy-turvy flying through the infield here at Daytona. Take more than Band-Aids to fix the damage to that car. Expect the unexpected today. Fox Sports brings you live the 43rd annual Napa 300 to launch the NASCAR Busch Series for the year 2001 at Daytona International Speedway. We're close to the command to fire engines. Let's go right down to pit road. Steve Burns.
Mike, Jeff Green dominated this series last year, winning 6 times. But as you just said, last year at Daytona, upside down to start the season. Jeff, can you fix that today and win this race?
Well, first of all, we're going to try to make it to the end, Steve, with this Nesquik Ford Taurus. Been running good yesterday, and happy hour was good as anybody. So we're looking forward to easing our way up here through the race and not taking any chances. And hopefully we can see the checker flag and have an opportunity to at least finish in the top 5 or the top 10. And if we can do that, we'll have an opportunity to win, too. So that's what we're after.
Good luck, Jeff. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Daytona has been an all-or-nothing racetrack for Michael Waltrip. In 12 Busch Series starts, 7 DNFs, but 6 have been accidents. When he does finish, he finishes in the top 10. Today, Michael starting deep in the field. How do you manage your 300 miles to get this car to victory lane?
Well, I haven't been very good at that, Matt. I always get wrecked. Last year, I made it to about 10 to go, and some cat turned me over in the tri-oval. So my main concern is getting my belts as tight as I can and hanging on. Had great cars, great opportunities to win this race, and hopefully we can bring the Aaron's Dream Machine home today in victory lane, and it would be a good day for us, obviously. I look forward to this race, but, man, I get beat around a lot.
Well, he hopes that dream win today, Mike.
Getting set for the start. 43 cars at the ready, the last 6 winners in the field. Let's go trackside for the opening ceremonies.
Almighty God, we pause today to give thanks that you are our God, and we want to confess that we are your people. And so for the wonderful races today, for all who participate and for all who make this possible, we pray that your spirit will abide with all of us. Shalom and amen.
And now, to honor America, singing alongside her constant companion Rika, Miss Jenna Fetchy.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Jenna. Now about a big hand for the AH-64 Apache helicopters from the Florida Army National Guard. This helicopter squadron is the last unit to rotate through Operation Southern Watch in Iraq. And now for the most famous words in motorsports. One of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in the NFL, the Grand Marshal of the Napa Auto Parts 300, Terry Bradshaw. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Terry Bradshaw has some Fox attitude, doesn't he? Hi, everyone, and welcome to Daytona. I'm Mike Joy alongside Crew Chief Larry McReynolds and a 5-time winner of this race, Darrell Waltrip. And DW, we said expect the unexpected. The weather's unexpected today.
Well, that's what's driving me crazy. I had my car drive. It was 88 degrees yesterday, and I had my car driving. I was pretty happy with that son of a gun yesterday. And the other day it was windy, and I got it driving pretty. Every day I get up and I go to the track, the weather changes. Man, this is supposed to be about racing, not about weather.
But DW, I took good notes this week.
Oh, good.
I've never been in the garage area on race morning and seen so many changes going on. Nobody was happy with the way their car was doing yesterday. They didn't like the way it was handling. They didn't like the way it was running. They didn't like the way it would pull up in the draft. They're changing gears, springs, shocks. So now, not only do you have the unknowns of the weather change, you got the unknowns of the changes.
That's right.
A lot of rookies in this field, some unknowns there. Most of the most recent previous winners, though, are in this race. Crews move off to their positions behind pit wall, and the field will get ready to roll out onto the racetrack. We'll be right back to Daytona. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Hanshu, president of Napa. On behalf of over 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and more than 10,000 Napa Auto Care centers across the nation, welcome to today's Fox broadcast of the Napa Auto Parts 300. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the race.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway live on Fox as you watch the field roll through turn number 1, high up on that 31-degree banking. And folks, your long wait is almost over. Tomorrow, the Daytona 500 live on Fox. Here's how they'll line up for today's Napa 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series. The 98 winner, Joe Nemechek, on the pole, and 2-time winner of this race, Randy LaJoie, alongside. P.J. Jones, Parnelli's son, makes his best career start, and Jeff Purvis, the runner-up in 98. Scott Wimmer and Jamie McMurray, 2 rookies, share the 3rd row. 99 ASA champ Tim Sauter and Mike Dillon, who was 9th last year in row 4. Kevin Grubb, 8th here in 99, and Lyndon Amick. Row 6, Maine's Joe Bessie and sophomore driver Kevin Harvick. Row 7, 4th here a year ago was Jay Sauter and Jeff Green, the series champion. Bobby Hamilton Jr. makes his 3rd Daytona start, and Mike McLaughlin has 5 Busch Series wins. Todd Bodine, the 97 runner-up, and Matt Kenseth, defending champion of the Napa 300. Jason Keller, last year's runner-up in the points, and Kenny Wallace has 7 starts, 5 top 10 finishes in this race. Steve Grissom won this race in 96. Bobby Hamilton, father and son in the field, his first start since 95. 2 rookies in row 12, David Starr and Truck Series champ Greg Biffle. Elton Sawyer, 5th in 1990, and Blaze Alexander, a rookie. Rich Bickle and Michael Waltrip, 2 times a bridesmaid in this race. Ashton Lewis and Marty Houston, another 2 rookies in the 15th row. Mark Green, 8th here in 97, and the 95 winner, Chad Little. 2 more rookies, Brad Baker from Tennessee and California's Jimmy Johnson. Tim Fedua and Larry Foyt from out of Formula 2000 and ASA. Chad Chaffin makes his 2nd Daytona start. And the 94 Series champ, David Green. 3 Green brothers here. Hank Parker Jr. and Tony Raines, the 96 ASA champ. Shane Hall returns to Daytona, first time in 3 years for him, and former ARCA racer Kelly Denton. Truck Series veteran Mike Bliss is a Busch Series rookie and moves into this field in 43rd position. Today, they'll race 300 miles, 120 laps, $1.6 million posted, and they'll go 50 to 60 laps on fuel. Preliminary laps underway. We'll be back for the start of the Napa 300. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where later today you'll see final Winston Cup practice for the Daytona 500 on FX, NASCAR Happy Hour, immediately following our telecast of the Napa 300. Today, Fox takes you along for a ride with Hank Parker Jr., the General Nutrition Center cam, starting 39th in the field, and the Aaron's Rent onboard camera. They've rented one for Michael Waltrip, starting 28th today. Our Briggs and Stratton cam rides with Kenny Wallace, car number 48 from 20th position. And here's the defending champion of the race, the Visine cam, on board Matt Kenseth from 18th spot. Our Dr. Pepper camera rides with Bobby Hamilton Jr., 15th starting position for the 26 car. And Kevin Harvick. The AC Delco camera sits 12th on the grid in car 2. Finally, Jeff Purvis from 4th position, our MBNA cam. Inside that, Joe Gibbs Racing Machine starting 4th. Let's go to the editor of Speedway Illustrated, Dick Berggren.
Thanks, Mike. 2 drivers to keep your eye on today. Number 1, Californian P.J. Jones, son of Indy 500 winner Parnelli Jones, brother of midget standout Paige Jones. He loves big, booming, fast racetracks like Daytona. He will be tough today. But to win, he is going to have to pass pole sitter, local hero, Florida man Joe Nemechek. Joe won this race back in 1998, second last year. He will be tough today as well. Let's go to Jeannie.
Well, Dick, there are 2 schools of thoughts in racing. Hang back and wait or make something happen right now, and the latter would apply to Kevin Harvick. But he's found some success, right? He's the 2000 Rookie of the Year, and because of the success, he's lived up to his nickname. Happy. It's easy to be happy with those kind of results, but because of his aggressive nature, it's very difficult for his crew. So that's why leading up to race day, he gives everybody a t-shirt that says, "Don't worry, here comes Happy," and he'll be coming at you from the 12th position. Mike?
Thanks, Jeannie. Car 74 has gone to the rear. Phil Parsons qualified it. Chad Little will start the race. The change of drivers puts him in the back. 75 degrees, 69% humidity, winds from the west 10 miles an hour. There's a line of showers coming across northeast Florida, but it will miss us, we hope.
Well, the thing, it's overcast, and yesterday it was in the high 80s, Darrell, when these guys was practicing. The track's not going to be quite as slick as it was today, and we're about ready to go green.
Pace car leads them down the 1,000-foot short chute from turn 4 toward the start-finish line. Left turn for the pace car, and here they come, 43 strong, to race 300 miles. Green flag, we're racing. Nemechek gets away by 2 car lengths here.
Yeah, I know everybody's got high hopes, first race of the year, but Joe Nemechek will be really hard to hang with today. That's a fast car. It's a Pontiac, and it's on the pole by a significant amount. I expect Joe will be the man to beat.
The orange car low is P.J. Jones. The blue and white car tucked up behind Nemechek. 2-time winner of this race, Randy LaJoie.
Randy LaJoie, his car owner is Joe Nemechek, and Randy will run the full circuit for Joe Nemechek. And I talked to Joe this morning. I said, Joe, whenever you've run good here, you've always had a dominant car. But he said, yeah, the problem is I give my driver just as good a piece this morning.
He got 2 dominant cars. That's better news yet. As you can see, he can sit there and pull these guys around there. They're 2 by 2 behind him. He has the luxury of moving from one side to the other, pick up whichever lane he wants. Obviously, since his team car is right behind him, he's going to help him the most. Try to pull him out of that 2-car pack there instead of 2-car side-by-side race. The thing we know about LaJoie, though, if he can pass his boss, he will.
David Starr drops off the racetrack, may go to the garage. He's reported to the crew that his number 16 is overheating.
Boy, it's hard to believe he'd had that kind of problem on the first lap of the race. The second lap of the race, overheating already. He must have a major malfunction.
Dick Berggren?
Well, David Starr had trouble as well in happy hour last night. Lost the motor, missed most of it. How come? Overheating. So this is the second time this has happened to him in speed weeks.
Look at 23 coming up the inside behind P.J. Jones. Scott Wimmer, rookie driver, had a great qualifying run and positioned well up in the field right now. Make that 8th place for Wimmer.
One of the things we got to watch is these cars, as we said, they practiced in totally different conditions yesterday afternoon than what we're seeing today. So chassis setup on some of these cars, I'm sure it was changed last night, and now guys are wondering if they went the right way or not.
And what will really happen, Darrell, when the track is cooler and overcast, the cars will have more grip because the track surface is cooler, but also it'll make the cars tighter. You know, they'll push a little bit more. The front wheels won't bite quite in like they would yesterday, where the rear wheels was probably loose.
Oh, yeah. That's what they're going to fight today, is a tight car, because all of them are complaining about aero push off of turn 2 and off of turn 4, and that's going to, track conditions are going to enhance that today.
That inside lane is backing up. Why?
It's interesting how it goes. One race, it seems like the inside lane will go forward and the outside won't go anywhere, but here this year, most of the time, the high line has been the way to run around this racetrack. And I really believe it just keeps the engines wound up a little bit better. And you know what? We haven't raced up there for so long. We've always run right around the bottom. I believe there's more grip up there.
Look right here. This is looking out the front of Kevin Harvick's car right here. Did you see the car up there on the inside sparking out? This track is very bumpy. Now, these cars have to run a minimum rate springs, 1500s in the front and 415s in the rear, but still you're trying to suck them down with shocks, get them down lower. They'll go through the air, and when they go across the bumps, especially in the lower groove, they'll bottom out.
I had one crew chief tell me that 1 pound of air out of his tires, he bottomed out. 1 pound of air in his tires, and he didn't bottom out. They're all going to start on low air pressure.
And I will say, as they run, we may see the bottoming out get less because the air pressure builds up in the tire.
Tire builds up, fuel burns off, and the car doesn't ride down into the ground, doesn't bottom out so bad.
Kevin Harvick, you're riding with him. He's fought his way up to 5th place.
But as smooth as this place looks, I want you to know, it's like riding a wave. It's like riding in a boat across water. It's got wakes in it, little bitty bumps, and they make the car porpoise, front to rear, front to rear, and that's what causes them to bottom out. That's also what causes them to wreck.
Yeah, a bump you barely feel at 60 miles an hour becomes a huge issue here at 175.
Well, the tires have got 55 pounds in the right side and 30 pounds in the left side, and there they see that car hop up and down. That after a while, when the tires wear down, the track gets a little heat in it, can drive you right into the fence.
Trouble, front straightaway. One car turned, slides for the infield wall, and pounds it hard. That's 25.
Car.
Chad Chaffin and the 28.
Baker down here in the Vanderbilt car, and it's Chad Chaffin, and guess where they race at all the time? Nashville. 2 Nashville guys just got into each other, took each other out.
Darrell, there's Elton Sawyer coming around on the track apron. One of those cars, Darrell, got loose up in the bumps in turn 4 and started to come across in front of the other.
That's what happens. They start moving around, and the driver has to yank on the steering wheel, and he gets that thing. I hate to use this term because people say, what are you talking? The hospital hop, but they get to hopping into each other.
Let's have a look.
Here we come.
Like the car in the bottom just got up into Chad Chaffin there and got him loose up into the wall.
Sure did. That was Chad Little, 74, that got against him.
And actually, Baker had nothing he could do. Chaffin came across in front of him, and he clipped him. That's unfortunate for both of them because they're both just victims of circumstance.
Baker's car appears undamaged. Look at the top of your screen.
Actually, he gets forced into the wall back here by this car, and that drives him down, and then this Baker car gets into him.
And look at the 28 cars. He gets backwards. You see the 2 flaps come up on the roof? That's the roof flaps. That was this thing that was developed by Roush Racing and NASCAR several years ago. Works a lot like a flap on an airplane and settles the car back down.
Yeah, and he's going to have to pay Mr. France quite a bit of money because he tore up that nice logo out there.
Now, Elton Sawyer will come around to the pits for attention on that Brad Akins, number 98. Chad Chaffin, the 1995 Nashville Speedway late model champion, and in that 25, and Brad Baker. Looks like he does have some front-end damage.
Not bad, though. That car can, I think they can get that car back in action. That's just grill damage. They'll tape it up, and he'll be, I think he's going to be good to go. He's got to have 4 tires.
They're going to have to get that roof flat back down, though. NASCAR won't let them go back out till those are back in positions. There it goes.
First caution of the day comes out at lap number 7. Chad Chaffin and Brad Baker. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Daytona. This first caution will be a brief one. Well, it'll take more than tape to fix Brad Baker's car now, as appears they didn't have the hood pins in place when they sent him back out. Jeff Hammond?
Yeah, Mike, just watching, and as we come along there, they said Chad Little had moved up. I believe that this car right here created that situation. I think that whenever Chad came around, he tried to move up out of the way.
That car was Elton Sawyer's, and Sawyer was trying to get to the pit, and that did create somewhat of a squeeze play up in turn 4 for the cars coming along up in the lane.
That's when the crew chief said, "What happened?" He said, "Man, I don't know. We got all wadded up."
Steve Burns, what happened to Sawyer?
Mike, bad news for Busch Series veteran Elton Sawyer. His day is officially done. Elton radioed into crew chief Ricky Byers, thinks they've burnt a piston. He's already taken that number 98 car to the garage.
You know what's unique about that, Darrell, is that's a Ford, and their motors are being built by the Cosworth people in California that actually builds the motors for Formula One. So this is their first venture, but they didn't make it very long.
Yeah, well, one of the things, Larry, back to the weather. We got a little lower humidity today. We got better air. You're going to make more power. You got to jet that carburetor up, or you'll burn that engine up. And that's maybe why some guys are running warmer than they were yesterday, and why that cat burned a piston.
Joe Nemechek has led every lap so far. Let's find out what Kenny Wallace's crew and spotter have been instructing him during this caution period.
Hey, Herman. Yep. He said he was sorry. He tried to hit you. He's going to pit. He's sorry. Just tell him, man, you don't be running this stuff 3 wide right now. Tell him these cars don't have that aero package like the Cup cars. Quit trying to do that crap right now.
Herman is Kenny Wallace's nickname, and there are the spotters high atop the roof. The aero package is the aerodynamic package, and these cars there vary significantly from the cars in tomorrow's Daytona 500.
Well, one of the big differences you see across the roof right here, like on Winston Cup cars, there's no roof fin up there, which puts a lot of drag in the car. Also, these cars run 55 degrees of spoiler, where the Winston Cup cars run 70 degrees of spoiler. So that's 2 big differences in these 2 cars.
Here's a tale of the tape between the Winston Cup cars that will run tomorrow and the Busch Grand National cars, which are 100 pounds lighter. They run a smaller restrictor plate on the carburetor, and they have a shorter wheelbase. Jeff?
Yeah, guys, and one of the things we were talking about a little earlier in these Busch cars has to do with they can also run a rear spoiler configuration that makes them different from Winston Cup cars. So they also got very much a different handling package than what we do in the Winston Cup.
Well, single file restart minus Brad Baker here.
Yeah, here we go. We got a green flag start, and we're back to racing. Let's get some racing going here, guys. What do you say? Let's see some action.
Without that roof fin, as Larry McReynolds calls it, these cars are a little tougher to draft off of and pull up and pass.
Well, and the reason with the roof fin, it pokes a bigger hole in the air, and the cars are able to pull up. With the cars being a little smaller configuration, just the way I relate it is if you drove a car through a brick wall, which car would knock the most bricks out? The one with the roof flap, it pokes a bigger hole in the air. These Busch cars don't do that, and that's a lot of times why they can't draft back.
Now, you crew chiefs always talking about going through a wall. Man, I'm trying to stay off the wall. Give me a break.
Look at that 20. Mike McLaughlin started 16th. He's moved up to 7th. You're riding with the defending race champion, Matt Kenseth, out of turn 4.
Got a feeling we'll hear from him before the day's over with.
When they go across them bumps right then, you could actually hear the RPMs come up because the rear wheels actually lift up off the pavement right there.
And these cars are a little bit more sensitive to that because these cars are a shorter wheelbase. They're 105 inches, so the wheels, front wheels and the rear wheels go through those bumps a little bit quicker.
Up front, a 6-car breakaway. In front of that double file pack behind them, Jeff Green, the series champ, is part of that breakout in the yellow car in 6th place. Nemechek has led every lap so far.
And guess what? He's got his teammate right there with him, pushing him right along. There are 2 good cars. He could run that way the whole race.
Randy LaJoie in 2nd, Jeff Purvis in 3rd.
Now, he won't, I might add, but he could. So somebody will get going here in a minute and get up there and race these guys. Purvis is riding along there, and we watched him in practice. He's got a good car. We haven't heard anything out of Jeff Green yet. We know he's got a good car. A couple other guys back in there that as soon as things shake out a little bit, they'll go racing.
You see Bobby Hamilton there in the 08 car. Bobby, I was talking to him this morning, a lot like other drivers this week. He's got a stomach virus. NASCAR is very discreet about who they'll let you put in his car, especially without any practice. So he has the gentleman that drives in the truck series for him standing in his pits, Joe Ruttman. But you know what, Darrell, what I've learned with drivers, if their old car is driving good, old stomach feels a little better. That thing ain't driving no good. It's like, why don't you get Joe ready? Let's put him in this thing.
That's exactly right. And plus, Joe's quite a bit bigger than Bobby, so he'd have a hard time getting in there. But see how that car is hopping along there? That's the shock package it has on it. And if you can see the back end of the car, we'll get a shot of it maybe going down the straightaway here. The back end of the car is actually lower than the front end. See how much lower it is back here in the back? Sucked down in the back. That's to make it go fast.
When you get that rear spoiler out of there, it's going to run fast.
She picks up speed.
Joe Nemechek has led every one of the 13 laps so far. Meanwhile, the driver who finished 6th in last year's points is the first casualty of this race. Jeannie Zalesko.
Elton Sawyer, what are you doing packing up so early for Rockingham?
Well, Jeannie, I'm not real sure. I think we burned a piston, but it's really unfortunate. These guys have done a great job all week. The starter Hot Tamales car was handling extremely well, just trying to find a lane to get in there the first part of the race. And I don't know, the motor just let go. But it's a long season. I'm really proud of these guys for the effort they put forth for Daytona. And I'm hoping that Rockingham be a little better.
Real quick, what's the condition like? The weather changed on you today.
Well, obviously it's a lot cooler. The racetrack's going to have a lot more grip to it. So cars that were slipping and sliding yesterday, they're going to handle a little better today. But our car was really good. Ford was great.
We'll let you get back to work.
Our Fox box in the upper left of the screen in NASCAR racing will show you laps to go and track condition, which right now has gone yellow due to a shower that's passed over the speedway.
But it's coming down pretty hard over there right now. Didn't y'all hear me holler at rain? I've been calling you, Larry, telling you to tell NASCAR it's raining.
That's what them drivers will tell you. But
yeah.
It depends on where you're running on the racetrack.
Well, I was running about 15th place, and I wanted a caution, man. Get that caution out.
Second caution of the day. This one at lap 14. And this one for a shower that's come across. Now, there is a light band of showers running from the Tampa Bay area up toward Jacksonville and then out into the Atlantic Ocean. We're right on the tail edge of it, so some dark clouds occasionally come over the speedway, but this is not expected to delay this race for very long.
Here's your weather. Here's Daytona right here, and there goes your weather that way, so hopefully we'll have it out of here shortly. But you know what? Bad news for these guys, good news for the Cup guys, because tomorrow's supposed to be much cooler and low humidity. And let me tell you, a driver yesterday was going through a lot because the crew chiefs would not allow Larry to tape up. He didn't want any air coming in the car. They didn't want any NACA ducts open. They didn't want any coolers in the car for the driver.
Well, what we do, we put ducts that blow air in on the driver, blow air in his helmet. And we're going to have some pit stops here, but them ducts are dragged, and that hurts the speed of the car. Dick Bergman, what are these guys doing on pit road?
Well, they're all getting ready to come in, put some tires on it, put some fuel on it. They've only got 3 sets. That's all they're allowed to use. And we're going to have 3 of the top runners here all at one time on pit road. Joe Nemechek, your leader, on top. And in the middle, it's Harvick. And let's go to Matt.
The 2 car is in, Dick. They are looking at only doing a 2-tire stop. He says the car is very good, just a tick tight. And he's down and away, Steve. Oh, a little slow off pit road to Steve.
Matt, Jeff Purvis will take 4 tires. Shane Westerberg, Dave Hansen changing the tires. Jim Gilbert, the gas man, 4 tires, no chassis adjustments on the 18 of Jeff Purvis.
Well, that will shake up the order. Look at the pit times. Nemechek, 19 seconds for a 4-tire stop. That will put him back in the field.
And you might say, why would these guys, it's raining, they've only run 15 laps, why would they pit? Okay, I'm asking Larry, why did I pit?
Well, I don't know, because we've run 14 laps, but remember, though 4 of those laps was under caution. In a rule they have in Busch Grand National, unlike Winston Cup, you only have 3 sets of tires that you can change under caution. Now, under green, you can change all you want to. Winston Cup, you can change all you want, caution or green. So you got to kind of manage your tires. So now these guys are sitting there with only 2 more sets of tires to run a little over 100 laps.
Jeff Hammond, would you have come in for tires now?
Yes, I would have. I took advantage of the situation because you got to realize something. A lot of these guys may be thinking this may only be half a race today. So they got to get themselves in the best possible position to run for the halfway point, which makes the race official. So therefore, maybe a little bit of strategy going on here.
Jeff, you think something else they might be thinking? It's a 120-lap race. A lot of them talked about they could run maybe about 52, 53 laps. What this does do, especially with cautions, it puts them in the fuel window. In other words, the people that just pitted can make the rest of the race on 1 more pit stop.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're both wrong. You're both,
hey,
let me tell you what's going on. Here's what's going on. The driver's been complaining ever since they dropped the green flags. Things pushes like a dump truck. I can't drive it. So he gets a caution. He says the caution comes out. We're going to come in. We're going to pull all those spring rubbers out. We're going to take a little wedge out. We're going to change the air pressure, and you, my man, will be good to go.
Well, Larry Mack, I think you and Doug Richard think alike. Doug is a crew chief for Jeff Purvis, and we heard them on the radio say, yeah, let's go ahead and come in, put on 4 tires, and get gas because this does put us in our fuel window.
Well, don't discount Darrell Waltrip's advice. He won the fastest Napa 300 ever, 1978. The average speed was a blistering 162.6 miles an hour, and that speed included pit stops and caution flags. So 5-time winner of the event. Earnhardt's won it 7 times. And we're going to red flag this race. We believe that would mean that all of the cars need to fall in line on pit road behind the pace car and stop and shut down. The 1 mechanic per car will be allowed out there to service the driver and cover the car. Otherwise, no work can be done on any car during a red flag condition.
Well, I would have stayed out. I don't care what my crew chief said, because you know what? I'd be leading the race. You know who we'd go down and talk to first? The guy leading the race.
Who is Scott Wimmer, the rookie.
Wimmer.
And Blaze Alexander right behind him. Now, Wimmer did not pit, so he will be the leader when this race resumes.
And I might be able to lead this race for a couple of days. You never know.
The NASCAR rule requires that for this race to be official, they must complete half the advertised distance, which would be 60 laps, 150 miles. Otherwise, they'd come back and complete this. Now, not all the cars have made pit stops, and now everyone is filing in to take up their position at the end of the line for this red flag condition. Once they are all stopped, that's when the red flag will go out, and no work can be done on any of these cars until we resume under yellow.
And they have to get them. There's a yellow line in the pit lane there that is just like the start-finish line out here on the track. And they have to get all the cars on the other side of that start-finish line so they'll be scored properly. Any cars that stop back behind the start-finish line would be shown basically a lap down.
All cars have electronic scoring transponders. If you're in the New York area, that fast lane program where the automatic toll collection, you have a little transponder on the windshield. We also have it down here in Florida. Easy Pass, it's called in some places. Very similar item on each one of these race cars to automatically score them. And on Thursday, in the 125-mile qualifiers, we knew within seconds that Mike Skinner had beaten Dale Earnhardt Jr., and we knew it was by 4/1000ths of a second. No waiting for replays, slow motion, or photo finishes. It's right there.
Hey, Larry.
NASCAR still uses backup systems. They still got people in a scoring stand in case the transponders fail, scoring the cars with pencil and paper. They also, should they have a photo finish and the transponders fail them, they've got a camera that's filming every car that goes by the start-finish line. But I will say, over the past few years, Darrell, the transponders has worked great.
They have. They've got that system pretty well perfected now.
Their series champion, Jeff Green, walking away from his car during this, what we hope will be brief intermission. Joe Nemechek has led every lap up till now. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Speedway, where tomorrow NASCAR's finest square off in the one race every driver wants to win most, the Daytona 500. You'll see all the excitement beginning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time right here on Fox. A rain delay here in the Napa 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series. Hopefully a brief one. We'll be able shortly to get this track dry and the cars back out.
Quite honestly, this is a good thing for the drivers particularly. They can get out of the car now. They can go over, sit down, and talk to the crew chief. And he's run 15 laps, like 15 laps of practice under race conditions. And you can discuss, all right, when we get ready to go back to green, here's what we're going to do. And Larry, you can jump in any time, but whatever's wrong with the car, you can help me fix.
Well, it's, you know, we're one of the few sports that don't have timeouts. You know, we don't have half times. We don't have between quarters. We can't call timeout. We have to, as a crew chief, we have to make split decisions along with what that driver is telling us. You don't like rain delays, but it kind of gives you a chance to evaluate and review what you've had these first part of the race.
Here's the view from the Budweiser.com airship, which was 1,000 feet over Daytona International Speedway. It's come down a little bit here, vying for airspace among all of the banner tow planes and helicopters, trying to get their message out to the Speed Weeks fans. Steve Burns?
Okay, stock car racing fans, meet Scott Wimmer. He's a young driver on the rise. Just 11 months ago, tell me if I get the story right, he, his dad, and his brother come from Wisconsin to race in the ASA series, a smaller stock car racing series. Scott, you guys were going to only run 8 races. That's all the money you had, but you screwed that plan up. Tell everybody how you did it.
Yeah, winning those 2 races right off the bat kind of screwed my whole plans for last year up, but landed me in good ride this year with Bill Davis Racing. And, you know, last year I was sitting in the stands. I was running the local short tracks down here, sitting in the stands watching this race. Pretty excited to be out here today.
And now you're leading. Can you believe in just 11 months, here you are at Daytona?
No, it's pretty unbelievable. Bill Davis gave me a great opportunity here, and, you know, we got a great car. Kind of got shuffled back at the start there, but we're starting to make our way back up. I guess that's the way Daytona goes. I'm pretty new to the drafting and stuff like that, but, you know, Janet King Pontiac's running good.
All right, best of luck, Scott. Let's go to Dick Berggren.
Just racing in the rain. What was it like out there, Joe Nemechek, running in the rain?
That last lap was really slippery. You know, I hate it for Randy. They kind of hung him out there off of 2. But turn 2 was really slick, too, and I think he got up a little bit, and Jeff Purvis got a little run on him and went through 3 and 4, and it was really slippery. I mean, it had been sprinkling there, not bad, and when I got to it, I could see the last car that went through there's tire tracks, and I said, this is going to be big, but everybody made it through.
Not the fastest of pit stops. They wanted to take it real easy and make sure they did not damage those priceless fenders to Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, we're talking about a break in the rain, and it's actually a good break for the 25 car. Chad, first, tell me what happened out there on the track.
Well, I mean, just like any driver always has an opinion, it might not be accurate, but the Marine Chevy was really running good. But what it seemed like happened as we came off forward, the 98 car had some mechanical problems, and he was slow. And the bottom lane was kind of caught off guard. And when they started moving up, Chad Little kind of came across my left front fender, pulled me over into the wall. And I thought I was up beside him enough that he knew I was there, and apparently he didn't know, and pulled me over into the wall. And we started spinning, and I just didn't know if I was going to catch that inside wall or not, like Darrell could comment on. You start spinning off 4, you just hope you get far enough out that you miss the end of that wall, but we didn't. It was really a glancing blow. You know, we're just trying to get the car to where it'll run minimum speed so we can get some laps, and obviously we're real disappointed, but the rain does allow us to kind of regroup. The team is, you know, we've already had like a team meeting. They're really organized. They're working hard, so we're going to get it back out there and make some laps.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Matt?
Jeannie, Jeff Green hit pit road 5th, but came out 13th. One of several drivers who opted to take on 4 tires instead of 2. Why the 4 instead of 2, Jeff?
Well, we talked it over. Harold and myself talked it over before the race started. The thing, you know, if it goes green for 50 laps, the 4 tires will really pay off. If it doesn't, it probably won't. But that's the gamble we took. I mean, I think, you know, this Nesquik Ford Taurus was awesome. As everybody's seen at the first of the race, just kind of biding our time and don't want to let what happened last year. So we got a great race car and looking forward to getting back out here.
12 drivers today making their first Busch Series start here in Daytona. You were concerned about that before happy hour. Those guys have been shuffled back. Are you surprised how fast they've been shuffled back?
Well, I just think the superior cars, and of course the experience probably come to the front too. It's tough to come down here your first time and be on top of the game, and I've been down here enough, so hopefully I'm close to the top. I don't think I'm near the top yet, but hopefully I'm close to the top of my game, and we can get the job done today.
Well, good luck. Let's go back upstairs to Mike.
It's a father and son reunion. Bobby Hamilton, senior and junior, talking about their fortunes in this race.
Yep. Probably asking, Junior's probably asking Dad, Dad, you feel okay? You know, Dad, you own these cars, or you own that one anyway, and is Ruttman going to get in this thing? Probably talking about the truck race and what we're going to do when we get back home, get ready to go to Rockingham. You know, just that's a good thing about a little rain delay here. You can talk about a lot of different things.
A couple more Nashville Speedway graduates.
You got it.
The Hamiltons. Let's again show you what put us under the first caution of the day. You'll see Elton Sawyer's car down on the apron. Everybody squeezed up. And around went Chad Chapin's 25 and the 28 of rookie Brad Baker.
Now, you know, surprisingly, Baker's car here, it wasn't in bad shape. I mean, it had a little front end damage, but they come in and leave the hood pins out, and he gets a lot of damage when he tries to go back out on the track.
They're drying the track. We'll show you the way they're running. In 1960, 73 cars started this race, and 37 of them piled up on the first lap with 8 cars upside down. We'll show you where everybody's running here after these pit stops at 16 laps.
You wasn't in that, was you, D-Dub?
I'm trying to think. I just want you to know I didn't race on the sand, and I was not in that race.
Okay.
But I was thinking about it.
Here's the field. We're under a red flag for rain, but the skies to the west are clearing fast. We'll update the weather when we return to Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the Napa 300 for the NASCAR Busch Series, part of NASCAR on Fox. We've watched this front blow through here in Daytona and take the rain with it. There are skies clearing to the west. The jet dryers are out on the track, and shortly we should be able to get the Napa 300 underway. There's a look at that cloud cover that's moving through, and there's a look at the storm activity. We're just on the tail end of it here in Daytona Beach on the right side of your screen.
Here we are right here, and there goes the weather out into the ocean, we hope.
Shortly.
Willard, you were supposed to jump all over that. What are you doing?
Instead of going to the Willard Scott of Winston Cup, Larry McReynolds, let's go down to Victory Lane.
All right, thanks, Mike. Chris Myers here, of course, on the dark clouds behind us, as you just pointed out, passing through with Jeff Hammond and Ken Squire, gentlemen, and we're at 16 laps. I guess at 150 miles, this would become an official race. Hopefully, we're getting ready to go in a red flag rain delay. As a former crew chief, Jeff, what's going on right now with crews and some of the drivers as they wait this out?
As Larry and Darrell were talking about earlier, what this is a perfect opportunity for the guys to get a chance to reevaluate where they are today, because as we talked earlier in the show, it was sunny yesterday. It really was. It was nice and warm. Today it's cloudy. It's cool. Track is totally different. So guys guessed at what they need to do to their car earlier. Now they get a chance to really sit down, brainstorm, and come up with what we need to do. If this thing goes back green, and when it goes back green, what do we need to do to make our cars better?
Yeah, and what should we be looking for? Because, Ken, you were talking about last year's Rookie of the Year in Winston Cup, the way he was running in this race right now.
Well, the thing that's impressing me most right now is Kenseth. Matt Kenseth in the 17. The word all week long has been that those Chevrolets didn't draft very well off the Pontiacs. 10 of the first 11 cars in the field are Pontiacs. But that number 17 started in 17th position. I thought I saw him as high as 5th position on the survey of the standings.
Here.
Yeah, he's come back a little. He was showing as 7th as we came to that flag. So the fact that he's up there, a year ago when he won this race, he stayed in the back half of the top 10 almost the entire race. And then when it counted, they came up through. And I think that Robbie Reiser Chevrolet could be a real factor before this race is over.
Well, Ken, I had the fortune of being around Robbie Reiser last year over at Roush's, as well as Matt Kenseth. And I can also tell you right now that he is probably, for his age, one of the sharpest and smartest guys out there on that track today. So what you're seeing, I don't think is totally, you know, something of a surprise. But I really believe what you're kind of alluding to right now, he could be a sleeper today.
Big player.
12 drivers making their first start here in the Busch Series. Again, we're in a red flag rain delay at the Napa 300. 16 laps through. We hope to get going in just a moment. Let's go back to pit road on Steve Burns. Steve?
Well, Randy LaJoie is a veteran. He's smart. He's inside this car, and he's dry. Randy, you've won this race twice, led over 120 laps. Why are you so good here at Daytona?
You got to have a good race car, good race team. And this is a brand new deal. Ed Evans owns it. Kleenex come on board. Kimberly Clark. It's a teammate to Joe Nemechek. And Joe's Nemco Motorsports is awesome on speedways. And they showed we're both on the front row, and we both have very good race cars here. And we got a full fuel run here. Once this weather gets out, we'll hopefully go back up to the front.
But you're not giving the driver any credit.
Well, I mean, the driver holds it down, and he does. I mean, yeah, I love to say I'm the best guy out here, you know, but if I can, I'll be in victory lane. We still got a full day's work ahead of us.
All right, Randy, let's go to Dick Berggren.
Well, Michael Waltrip is the shy one. He's Darrell's brother, so he's just kind of hanging around in his little shell here. Michael, how is it out there?
It's crazy. I only about saw 2 wrecks. That's a pretty good average for these folks. They get a little nuts when they open the season here at Daytona in the Busch Series. I'm just hoping to slip around here for 300 miles and be a factor at the end. Our little Aaron Chevy is running good. It pushed all through practice. I think Bobby Kennedy and the boys have adjusted it. And we're just throwing a little new setup at her here. Got a rear bar underneath the back, little low sway bar in the front. We got stuff that you're not supposed to run in the new 2000 setups, but it seems to be working out for me.
Okay, good luck with it. Let's go to Matt.
Well, Dick, we've got a Hamilton family reunion down here in the Dr. Pepper pit. Bobby Sr. and Jr. and Joe Nemechek coming in. First off, Joe, Bobby had 5 rounds out. Are you getting any kind of pointers here? Because he was complaining about his car a little bit.
No, we were just talking about setups, and all 3 of us are way different. And, you know, the track, I think there's a lot of crutch going on for a lot of guys out there because it's cloudy and overcast, and the track's cool. Yesterday afternoon, it was hot, greasy, had to make your cars really handle good, and today is way different. So we're geared up for the long run. So I'm hoping for the long runs.
Well, Bobby, you made some pretty significant changes.
We did. Only way we can keep up with these guys. It worked out good, the weather and everything. Like I said, yesterday it was hot and greasy, and I was hanging on with the last 20 laps of a run, and with this cloud cover and everything, really works out for us. Just got down the high line. I go down the bottom, and nobody go with me and get hung out. So we just get back up towards the front, run with these guys, maybe get away, and we'll be okay.
Well, he's got a good guy to talk to for advice. His dad. First off, Bobby, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Come in, didn't put any tires on, made an air pressure adjustment, put some gas in, got me a drink of Dr. Pepper, and I'm like Joe, I want the sun to come out, get this place good and hot and slick because we're driving good, you know. We just don't suck up real good, but I think I seen a little bit of lifting out there then, and we was able to pass 2 or 3 guys on the outside, so we need a slick racetrack.
He has his pants on, so it doesn't look like you're going to have him get in the car anytime soon.
Well, I don't think they'll let me swap right now, but I got him standing by. If I get to running real bad, then I'm going to get to feeling real bad. So Joe gets in it then.
All right, he's standing by, Jeannie.
Well, P.J. Jones, 7th after the pit. What do you do with this downtime? How do you keep your game face on?
Well, you know, nothing you can really do but sit and wait. But, you know, the yellow car's running great. You know, we got shuffled back there a little bit. I think the 2 teammates on the front row did us in a little bit there at the start. But we're fine. I mean, car's great. We're back up to about 7th after the stops and stuff. So we're just going to hang out and, you know, try to keep that car up front.
And interestingly enough, they're eating carrots during the break because it matches the fire suit. So be really glad you're wearing orange. Some other really scary food you'd be forced to munch on.
Well, see, I drive the yellow car that's orange. See, you know,
it all makes sense, doesn't it? In a rain delay, it makes sense.
Right.
Chris?
All right, thank you very much, Ginny. You're watching the Napa 300. We're live. They're getting ready to go. We're in a rain delay. 16 laps through. We'll continue on Fox. Part of a big weekend, the Daytona 500 tomorrow. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back live to Daytona. Over 100,000 people expected to see the Napa 300. They got to see 16 laps before a red flag rain delay. We're hoping the showers are passing through, and you can see it's clearing up a little bit, so we hope to continue. We already had our first caution early. Let's go up to the booth with Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip for another look at that. Mike?
Well, we've had a little bit more an evidentiary hearing as to what happened up there, and you did hear one of the drivers describe what happened in that incident. Chad Chaffin spoke of it. He's the number 25 car.
Well, this is the accident of the Chads. This is Chad Little right here. Right here is Chad Little. And he got into the front of Chad Chaffin. I don't know if it was a hanging Chad or a dangling Chad or what you want to call him, but anyway, Chad Chaffin then goes down and fortunately hit the wall with the right side of the car, not head on.
Now, did the 74 hit him?
Ah.
Yes, he did.
Oh, my friend, we have caught you. We have found the culprit. That's what Chad Chaffin said happened, that he got forced into the wall a little bit by Chad Little. So,
well, we've been analyzing and speculating race strategy. Let's go down and talk with one of the crew chiefs who has a car up toward the front in this race. Larry?
Brian Patty, this is Larry McReynolds.
How are you, sir?
Oh, we're doing good. I don't know. I've been up here analyzing this strategy, and it's a lot easier analyzing it up here now than it was down there. But I guess what I'm wondering, you've got 3 sets of tires that you can change on the caution. The caution come out on lap 14, but 4 of those laps prior to that had been running the caution, so you only had 10 laps on your tires. I guess I'm just kind of wondering or questioning the strategy of coming down pit road and taking one of your sets of tires this early in the race.
I really wasn't thinking more about the tire deal. I'm thinking more about fuel. It's a one-stop strategy now that we come in on lap 14, seeing we can go 55, 57 laps on tires and gas. So.
I know you was out front. Joe, have any complaints at all about the race car?
No, I actually had one concern. We changed all 4 shocks this morning, trying to get a little more straight line speed, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be too harsh because at starter practice yesterday, we really run like junk, and we kind of found a happy median, and this car's driving really well. You know, we're not here to win the first 10 laps. We're here to win the last 10 laps. So I think we got a really excellent car. Had a little pit stop flaw over here in the 7 car, so I hope they can go back up there and help us to the front.
But no question now, you can make it on one more stop as far as fuel.
Yeah, no problems.
All right, we'll go out there and hopefully we'll get this thing going again.
Thank you.
To give you an idea of the vastness of this 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway, turn 4 here is barely damp. The trucks and jet dryers have been running around here, and it's damp. The asphalt is almost a black, a dark gray. It's a light gray when the track's completely dry. But down in turn 1, just the opposite direction, only about half a mile from us, it's soaking wet down there.
It really is, and that's just it tells you the vastness of the speedway and how much area it covers, as well as, I got to tell you something, Mike. I don't know if Larry's going to make it or not. He's got a scanner. He's listening to these. He's taking notes. He's poking me, saying this guy needs to do that, and this guy. He's trying to fix every car in the field from up here in the booth, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it or not.
And on top of that, I'm trying to be a weatherman, and I don't use a lot of sophisticated equipment. A lot of times I just look at the American flag in the middle of the infield. And what that'll tell us, one, and it's important here at Daytona because the racetrack's so big and the speeds are so great, what that flag's telling us is which direction the wind's blowing. And if you'll notice, it's blowing directly down the backstretch here. And what that'll do, it's like bucking a headwind. And the driver will complain, hey, my motor don't seem like it's running. But one thing it is doing for us right now, wind blowing, it's blowing towards turn 1 and 2. It's helping to dry that racetrack.
There's a look from turn 3 down that back straightaway toward turn 2, and you see the water being kicked up by the rear tires of these wreckers. We've heard from Chad Chaffin, who was involved in the first caution of the day. Jeannie has the other driver involved.
Yeah, we're equal opportunity here. We'll give everybody a say. Brad, take us through what happened in the accident, your perspective.
Well, I was down on the inside, and Chad Little was in front of me, and Chad Chaffin was outside of him, and the outside line was going, and I think Chad wanted to get up there in the outside line, Chad Little, and it just wasn't quite enough room, and he took the nose off of Chad Chaffin and turned him. And then when Chad corrected, he came back across in front of me, and I was all over the brakes trying to slow our car down, but it just wasn't enough. Chad Chaffin's car just barely clipped the nose of our car, and it just made a little bit of damage, mainly just knocked the ductwork out from the nose of the car, and we were trying to get it fixed, but we didn't realize that it had sheared the hood pins too. So when we went back out down the back straightaway, it took the hood off, and now we're in big trouble.
Well, when you get back to work, you don't really get back to work because of the front end damage. Ken?
This is a dark day for Brad Baker. Did you see the sponsorship on the front of his shirt? Vanderbilt, the Commodores. But secretly, he is an Alabama fan. And let me tell you what's happened to him. He got here, he brought his Alabama fold-up chair. He had his Crimson Tide seat cushion, and the powers that are higher on that crew would not let him take him out of the truck. Life is hard for this guy Baker from Nashville, Tennessee. He's 40th and 6 laps down.
These are the only fans at Daytona that are enjoying the weather at this moment.
But you know what they say, just wait till next year.
Tonight on Fox, Cops at 8 p.m., 7 Central, and then a special edition of America's Most Wanted. An update looking for the killers of Chris Trickle and Mickey Thompson from Daytona, 9 p.m. 8 Central. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where everyone is waiting out the weather. In 1979, Darrell Waltrip won this race. It was run in 40 yellow flag laps and only 29 under green. It was kind of rain shortened then, but we're hopeful of getting back underway here shortly. So while that game of horseshoes goes on in the infield, let's go back down to pit road.
And I'm with Matt Kenseth. Just got married in December. Honeymoon still on?
Of course it is. You told me it's supposed to last the first year.
At least 1 year. After that, good luck. How's the car?
It's not too bad. It's driving pretty good right now. It's not quite as fast as I'd like it to be, but it seems okay. We're just kind of, you know, riding in a hole there and kind of waiting for it to shake out a little bit.
You took 2 tires on that last stop. A lot of the other front runners took 4. Why'd you go with 2?
Well, I was planning on getting out of the pits a little quicker. We had a little problem. A couple of lug nuts dropped off, so we still came out in the same place where we probably would have got 4. But I just wanted to get a little track position early in the race. Some guys are kind of new at this and still look pretty dicey out there. So I'd rather be ahead of everybody at this point in the race than be kind of in the middle of the mess.
Now, you won this thing last year. Is this car good enough to win it again?
I don't know. We'd have to have all the circumstances go exactly right for us to have a chance to win. But we're going to do the best we can and, you know, hopefully keep this Visine car somewhere in the front and have a shot at it.
Okay, good luck to you. Let's go to Matt.
And Dick, Mike McLaughlin, Magic Shoes came in 6th and went out 6th. They did do a 2-tire pit stop. Mike, can you guys go the distance now on one more stop?
I believe we can. I'll have to talk to Thunder to check it out, but we've got a good car. Feel good about it. Feel good about being with Joe Gibbs Racing. We don't have a major sponsor at this point, but World Vision is on board with us today, and Joe Gibbs Racing supports that charitable organization very much, and hopefully we can have a good run here today.
You know, a lot of people may not know from your early driving days, why do they call you Magic Shoes?
Magic Shoes goes back a long ways, back to my dirt track days. An announcer by the name of Joe Murata won a race on the last lap, and he had nicknamed different drivers different things. Mine was Magic Shoes, and it's followed me throughout my career.
Your first speed race with this team, what are your early thoughts? Are you gelling quickly?
These guys are an awesome bunch of guys. I mean, the pit stops are good. I haven't been here very long, but to be able to see how they work in the shop, it's a great organization, and just being a part of Joe Gibbs Racing is quite an honor.
Let's go to Steve Burns.
Thanks, Matt. Jeff Purvis started the race from the 4th position in one of those fast Pontiacs. Jeff, tell us about the racetrack so far, how you feel about your chances.
Well, it's a little bit different than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was hot and sunny, and it's been overcast pretty much all day, and I don't think we're really going to get to see, you know, the characteristics that I'm looking for the car a little bit later on. Is if the sun will come out, you know, I think my car is really going to be a lot better even when got me listening to myself here in the background.
At least they have Fox on, guys. Yeah. That's the good news.
No, but when the racetrack comes around and we get to, you know, sliding around on the racetrack some, this car is going to be even better than it is now. And I told him I got too excited running 3rd and went to 2nd, and I think I had a good shot at going to 1st right there at when they brought us in for tires and the rain came. So, you know, that's it's really a good race car. You know, it's my first race with the MBNA car, and I sit there and watch this the scoreboard, and I'm looking on the scoreboard, and I'm thinking, why am I not running 2nd right here? But I forget I'm in the 18 car instead of the 4 car. So, you know, it's just all it's different for me. I feel sorry for people that change from year to year and get a different number, because, you know, I'm just likely to slide through my pit stall down here. So, you know, but I got a good race car, and I want to thank these guys with Joe Gibbs Racing for giving me such a good race car, because without a good race car, you can't run good right here.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeff. And, guys, the crews down here are watching the TV, watching Fox. That's the good news, Mike Joy.
Pretty good, Steve Burns. NASCAR on Fox, beginning this 2001 season. We'll have the whole first half of the NASCAR season for you in Winston Cup and the NASCAR Busch Series. Let's go back about 16 laps and relive a memorable moment, perhaps yet another Emmy-winning performance. Here live from Daytona. Wow.
Hey, when it rains,
Folks, you won't believe what happened. It was raining. We went out and pulled the poncho back, and look what we found.
Exactly me.
Bradshaw, he was sitting down there in the grandstand. I said, what are you doing?
Hey, DW, I was up there at Mr. Francis thing, and like, yeah, I never had to, it's so hard to get into something like that. Look at all this stuff I got on me.
Listen,
I was banging on the window.
Highly restricted area
I
that
found
you're in
that
right
out.
now. You're in the television booth now.
I know.
You know anything about
you're
TV?
Interviewing me. This is really funny.
Do you know anything about TV?
I know a lot about TV. I know nothing about car
Well, I thought you told me you were going to help me.
I'm helping you right now. I'm making it hard for you to interview me.
Hey, have you ever been around this racetrack?
I've been around it with you.
We actually went around this racetrack together in a race car, and tell them what happened.
Well, I was on the outside because there's no seat on the outside in the
passenger side. Yeah, right.
I was in there like a pretzel, and DW got me up about 170 something, and I'm next to the wall, and it was not fun. And he was laughing until we got into the pit row area, and they said, DW, will you get on the outside? And he looked like...
I said, no, I don't ride. No, I'm the driver. I don't ride.
But he did, and he wimped out on me. He was a wimp. You were. You know you were.
I rode along beside him in the pace car and waved at him.
Yes, you did. It was frightening. It was frightening. I don't think our viewers know, but that car, you smell that car, you smell so much rubber. That's what I have a hard time with, all that rubber.
You mean to tell me somebody that kneels, that kind of gets down in behind the center to hike a ball?
Ain't a natural thing, is it? How do you tell your kids? What do you do for a living?
I don't like the sound of this at all. You're worried about a little stinky rubber. Let me ask you. You're going to come to a lot of races. I mean, you know, we're on the same team now, Bart.
I am. I'm going to do probably, I think we're planning on going to 12 races.
12 races, man.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's like a race fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge NASCAR fan. Always have been. Last week I thought the 125, and I was telling Mike earlier, that was one of the greatest races to start off a racing season because of all the switching. You know, you lead after 8 laps, and then you make a boo-boo, and you're the end of the pack. I thought it was great racing, and I think the viewers, especially to get a new viewer out there, if they see all of this action, you can't get away from the television set. And so I thought it was good. I think what NASCAR's done with the restrictor plates.
The plate and the aero package.
And all that.
You got to learn the lingo, man. You know, it's like wide receiver.
But it was good.
Short outs and across the middle.
But I don't understand one thing, Darrell. Yeah. Why aren't we racing now? I mean, we play in rain in football.
No.
I don't get it.
No rain tires. These guys, these drivers are like that. They're afraid they'll hit the wall.
Oh, well,
they're afraid to hit it. One thing I know I'm not afraid of.
What's that?
I bet they won't ask you to do gentlemen start your engines anymore.
Wait a minute. I thought, hold on. They asked me to do that, and I said I was just going to do it normally. And they said, no, we want a lot of stuff. And so I gave them a lot of stuff. Okay.
All right, man. Well, it's good to have you here. Hang around.
I will.
It's going to quit raining. We'll get to go racing.
I like that little horse on your chest there. It's cute.
Thank you very much. We'll be right back. No, we're going down to Chris.
All right, thanks, Darrell. You see, the wind tunnel blew off Terry's hair, I think, when he walked through that. Where were the real driver, Jeff Burton? How about Darrell, too, that you guys are afraid to drive in the rain?
Well, he was tough and mean last year. Now, all of a sudden, the drivers are afraid.
Right,
you know,
he's a broadcaster
now. 1 year, things change.
15 career wins for Jeff Burton. He'll be starting 8th in the Daytona 500, of course, in Ford. And you've driven in this 6 or 7 times in the Napa 300. Didn't have rain problems. But let's talk about tomorrow's race and what we saw in the twin 125s. All the passing and the great finishes, that should make for it. Some of the drivers have already said, Jeff, we're going to see the most competitive Daytona 500 we've seen in decades.
This could quite possibly be the best Daytona 500 ever. Going into this race, there really is no favorite. We don't have a clue who has the best car, and even having the best car may not get it done. Being at the right place at the right time is what it's all about. And you have no idea who's going to win this race until the last lap.
All right, a happy hour would be coming up, and again, the weather may affect that before you have the big race tomorrow. What are your plans? What do you look to do, provided you get that hour?
Well, what we're looking to do is just make our car just a little bit better. As you know, Jeff, if you don't have it right by now, you're in trouble. So what we hope to do is to go into happy hour and not have any problems. Go and make sure the race engine's in good shape, make sure the car still drives the way we think it's going to drive, get a clean cut, let Jack look at the plugs, and then we're done.
Referring to Jeff, Ken Squire, Jeff Hammond with us. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, one thing I've got a question about. Second here a year ago, you won the July 4th race. How much of a change have you got in your car right now compared to what you had a year ago?
Well, the setup is, believe it or not, it's very similar. The car that we won the Daytona 500, I'm sorry, didn't win the Daytona 500. The car that won in the 400-miler here is a car we ran on Sunday in the shootout. To show you how fast things change, that car was probably half a second slower than the car we're going to race in the Daytona 500. So setup is very close to the same. Car drives a lot different because of the aero package.
Jeff, what did you learn in the 125 milers the other day?
I learned that we have no idea what's going to happen. And I left that race doing, what in the world was that all about? You know, I think setup's going to be really important. I really believe that getting your car to handle well is going to be big. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit cooler. That's going to make it a little bit easier to make the car handle. But in my opinion, a slower car that handles well can run anywhere on the racetrack and still get this race won.
All right, and 8th, you'll be starting 8th in the 500. We will have an idea of the clear weather, at least. Rain not supposed to be in the forecast. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck on tomorrow's great race.
Thanks for having me. I want to say, Darrell, I like your horse on your shirt.
Okay. We're worried about you. All right, Jeff Burton with us. So we had to take a quick time out. We're live in Daytona. Rain delay at the Napa 300. When we come back, you're going to see the twin 125 races. As earlier this week, terrific finishes in both. That's ahead. Don't go away. Live to Daytona. It's already been an exciting speed week. We're in a rain delay at the Napa 300. We've gone 16 laps. The rain is clearing. We're going to get back to that action in just a couple of moments. Big weekend, and tomorrow, plenty of NASCAR coverage on the NASCAR This Morning at 10 Eastern. They'll get you ready for the Daytona 500, the Dodge Countdown to Daytona at 11:30 Eastern on Fox. And then, of course, the pre-race show that will take you right up to the 43rd running of the Daytona 500. You'll see that on Fox. Jeff Burton told us a moment ago that the guy that you want to watch is Dale Earnhardt with the restrictor plate racing, and that was the case in the twin 125s. As we're going to go back and take you to those. Thursday, race 1, a terrific finish as there was in race 2. This is race 1 with 17 laps to go. Let's join Mike Joy. The Napa 300 started this way with Terry Bradshaw. The Grand Marshal with an Emmy-winning command. And let's take a look. Jeff Hammond, the first caution here.
That's right. Chad Little gave a little squeeze to Chase Chapman and turned him into Brad Baker. Fortunately, both drivers walked away.
And at the second caution, as the raindrops started to fall around the 16-lap mark, umbrellas came out and the red flag came out, meaning a rain delay at 16 laps. So they pulled the cars off and wait for some rain to move through. By the way, Eldon Sawyer out of this race earlier after burning a piston. Some of the other cars preparing, using this valuable time to get ready through the rest of the Napa 300. This is the richest race at $1.6 million in the Busch Series. It becomes official at 150 miles, but we hope to get everything in as we are through 16 laps. Scott Wimmer, the rookie, one of 6 rookies leading at this moment.
Yeah, you see some of the veterans like Joe Nemechek. He's in 10th right now. He made a pit stop early on.
Checking the rest of the results through 16 laps, there are 12 drivers making their first start.
Brother Mikey Waltrip over in 15th.
In the Busch race, Jeff Green, of course, the Green brothers, Bobby Hamilton Jr. We heard from both of the Hamiltons a little bit earlier as we sat during the rain delay, and that's where we are at the moment as we round out the order at the moment, 16 laps through the Napa 300. Now let's take you back for the exciting conclusion of Thursday's first race of the Gatorade Twin 125 qualifying races. Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds on the call. We're back live at Daytona, the Napa 300, in a bit of a rain delay, and the cars are just about ready to get back on the track. We'll take you there in a moment, 16 laps through. But as you saw, those exciting Twin 125s, this is what helps set the field for tomorrow's 43rd running of the Daytona 500, which you will see on Fox. And it's Dodge in the front row, and Sterling Marlin, Mike Skinner following, Dale Earnhardt.
Jerry Nadeau, he redeemed himself a little bit during that qualifying race.
After having been on the pole, disqualified, but moving himself back up, coming from a long way back in the Twin 125. Continuing through this, Jeff Gordon, who's a 2-time winner, loved when he came here, said it's the best car he's ever had here, which is saying a lot. And Never Nervous said Jeff Purvis was a little bit to make his way in.
And I like that Cal Wells car that is being driven by Ricky Craven back there in row number 9. This is an important key year in the career of Ricky Craven.
Casey Atwood of the Dodge with Ray Evernham, the owner, going up to the spotter's role to help him earn his way into the Twin 125. You see Dale Jarrett. Again, last year he had to repair his car just before this time.
Nothing new, but the guys right there got a really nice job done the other day, so they're ready to go for the 500. They don't seem to be worried about it.
Robbie Gordon, rookie, the 42-year-old rookie, Ron Hornaday, and Brett Bodine rounding out the starting grid for tomorrow's Daytona 500, which if it's anything like what we saw in the Twin 125s, it'll be terrific. NASCAR this morning gets you going at 10 Eastern. That's on Fox Sports Net. Dodge Countdown to Daytona, 11:30 Eastern on Fox, and then just leave it there because the Dodge Daytona pre-race show, Ken Squire, Jeff Hammond, myself, and our pit crew get you ready for the 43rd running at the Daytona 500, called by Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, and Mike Joy. And the Busch cars here getting ready to go. As you see, we've had a bit of a rain delay. 16 laps in so far. We have the early caution flag. And we will be getting back to that in just a moment as they try to continue the Napa 300 at $1.6 million. It's the richest Napa 300 in the history of the Busch Series. Let's go back real quick. Jeff Hammond, as a crew chief, let's talk about what we saw in those Twin 125s that you think we're going to see tomorrow.
What did I see? I saw enough right now to make me know that I'm not going to miss this race no matter what. I'm telling you, that was one whale of a 125s they had the other day. Ken, I've been coming there a long time just like you have. I can't remember when we saw that much aggressiveness, and yet the guys just seemed like they were having fun.
I'll tell you what I saw that really impressed me was how important this race is going to be for Dodge. They're on the front row. They've got Elliott there, and they're ready to roll out for the start. And they send him to the, or didn't send him, but he went back, and I think he got sent back. And the same thing with Compton on the outside. They were not going to risk tearing up those cars, because if they had lost them, if they had been torn up, they would have to take a reserve car and go to the back of the field. And they are so intent on winning this 500 tomorrow that they were willing to back up, and we've never seen that in a long time.
Well, what a return for Dodge it would be. 10 Dodges in the field, making up nearly a quarter of the 43 cars. And let's talk about today's weather pushing back the Napa 300 a bit. How does that affect happy hour, Jeff, and what will drivers be doing if that's shortened or even canceled?
Well, it'll be real interesting to see kind of like how NASCAR handles it. What's going to go on here, depending on how long this race runs. They may elect to cut happy hour totally out, or if the teams say we need it, they may turn the lights on here at Daytona, which is a good thing. They may get a few laps in to see how good their engines are and get everything fine-tuned.
All right, the cars are rolling, and we're cranked up here from our set just above victory lane for Ken Squire, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers. Let's go back upstairs for some more racing here. Once they get going, Mike Joy?
A 1 hour and 28-minute red flag here in the Napa 300. As we pointed out, Darrell Waltrip won this race in 1979. It was rain shortened, Darrell. Only 29 laps under green that day.
And you know what we did under one of those stops? We changed the right front spring, and that's how we won the race. The thing was pushing like a dump truck.
Darrell, how does a dump truck push? I've been wondering that for 20 years.
You know how they got the great big old steering wheel, and you just turn it as far as you can turn it, and it keeps plowing into whatever's in front of it?
Okay, I just wondered. Nobody ever told me.
Dick Berggren.
Well, some drivers that have had problems. Michael Waltrip's car refused to start. His crew came down pit road on a full-bore run. They look like a bunch of guys from the Olympics. Randy LaJoie is going to have to re-pit. He's got loose lug nuts on the left side. That's an unscheduled pit stop. It'll put him in the back. And Tony Raines is going to have to come back in again for work on his car. To Matt.
Dick, I spoke with Todd Berry, the crew chief for Kevin Harvick. The temperature has dropped about 9 degrees from the start of the race. They would like to add more tape to the grill, but they are concerned with the uncertainty of the weather that it just might go back up in temperature, and then the car would be a little too hot. Larry?
Doug Richard, Larry McReynolds with Fox.
Hey, Larry, how you doing?
Hey, you hanging in there pretty good. What was your strategy on that last, on the pit stop for the caution for the rain?
Well, there really wasn't much strategy at all. We had a little window that we needed to get into, and that was just enough laps that we could get into one more stop here today. So it was pretty much a no-brainer. I watched all the Winston Cup guys all week long. It seemed like every time they had an opportunity, they got those 4 tires. So our MB&A Pontiac right now, sounding really well. But everything's doing pretty good right now. So MB&A, Pontiac's performing. We're looking for a good day.
So you did take 4 tires, though, right?
Yeah, we did, Larry.
All right, I know it's got you in a fuel window, but does it concern you that you've taken one of your 3 allotted sets this early in the race? I know you can make it on one more fuel stop, but now you've got only 2 sets of tires should you have to change under caution to make it to the end with what we've seen this week with tires being so critical.
Well, so far, Larry, everything we saw on our MB&A Pontiac this week has had really good tire wear. So we're really not worried about it. We made some changes this morning. Jeff feels comfortable with the car. We're looking at stopping one more time, and we'll go to the end.
All right, well, that sounds good. Good luck, Doug.
Thank you, Larry.
The weather this morning at the start of the race, 75 degrees, 69% humidity, westerly wind. Let's change it up for now. The weather, after that front has moved through, the temperature has dropped 9 degrees, the humidity's gone up, and the wind has shifted.
Well, I think one of the big things there, Darrell, is the temperature drop, because what we got to remember, the air temperature, it affects the track temperature. And when that air temperature goes down, the track temperature really goes down, and it just makes the cars grip better. And I think with the handling problems that a lot of these cars have had during the week with the hotter temperatures, the greasier track, these cars are going to like that cooler racetrack, Darrell.
Oh, they're going to love that. They're going to have some good racing.
Scott Wimmer leads this race. He came down to Atlanta last fall to try to run the ARCA race, the preliminary to the Winston Cup race. But qualifying for that race was rained out. He had a Winston Cup legal car, so he entered the Cup race and led 9 green flag laps in his first ever Winston Cup start. After qualifying 31st, he kind of fell into a situation where that glass slipper fit. He put it on, and here he is in the Busch Series.
Yeah, I saw him win a couple of ASA races there earlier last year, and I mean, he just dominated them. He and his dad and his brother, that's all the crew he had, and he only intended to run a few races, and the next thing you know, he's starting in this race here at Daytona.
A Cinderella story. Jeff?
Hey, Mike, I got one question for Darrell. Darrell, you out there, you listen to me?
Oh, yeah, bud, I got you.
Now, I knew you were a used car salesman, but I didn't realize you ever drove any dump trucks or ever sold any dump trucks now.
No, I never told you that, buddy, but most of the cars we had drove like dump trucks. I just didn't want to hurt your feelings, man.
Jeff, have you ever figured out what pushes like a dump truck, how to fix that?
Yeah, I think I do.
Get a new dump truck.
Put him in the booth. You're picking on me.
Jeff Hammond and Darrell Waltrip won the Daytona 500 together in 1989. We're back underway in the Napa 300. Stay with us. Green flag when we come back on Fox.
Welcome back live at Daytona, the Napa 300. Getting ready to go again after an hour and 28-minute rain delay as you get a look inside at what the drivers are doing to continue this race. A rookie leading as we return to our setup. Ken Squire, tell us about the rookie class. We have 6 rookie drivers in this race today.
Yeah, and when you talk about rookies in this race, remember they've had a 4 to 7 year undergraduate program before they move on to this Daytona Super Speedway. But the thing that interested me was row number 3. There's the Scott Wimmer, who is now leading, and beside him James McMurray. And between them, there is one super speedway start. And the guy directly behind them, Timmy Sauter out of Wisconsin, in 7th spot on the start. Until yesterday, he had never drafted. So those 3 rookies are doing very well. We've covered 47.5 miles in this race. They've been staying up there and staying out of trouble.
All right, let's go upstairs to Mike Joy. Mike?
Here's Randy LaJoy in to tighten up those left side lug nuts, Dick.
Well, I want to point out here that the reason they didn't do this while we had that red flag is the crews are not allowed to touch the race cars under a red flag condition. They would love to have gone over it, but they could not do so. And they got the lugs tightened out, put some more fuel in it, and he'll restart absolutely dead last. Mike?
Darrell, what's the big disadvantage to being out back when they drop the flag?
Well, 2 things. They'd have never caught that if they hadn't stopped the cars on pit lane. So the inspector's walking around, he sees that on the pit lane. He had to come back in. Now, I won a 125 here in 1976 because I had to come in something similar to that early into a run, early into the race, and I thought my day was doomed. And in fact, it went green, and I never had to pit anymore, and I won the 125. So you never know. Being in the back isn't all bad. It'll just be, you have to be a little careful and not make any real crazy Randy LaJoy moves.
Work continues on some of these cars on pit road as we're getting close to a green flag and resume the Napa 300. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. 1 day remains to the 43rd annual Daytona 500 on Fox. Scott Wimmer, only the 2nd driver to lead this race. Joe Nemechek led all the green flag laps, 15 of them. When the caution came out, Wimmer assumed the lead as Nemechek and some of the other front runners pitted.
That's a pretty good hot rod, I'll tell you that. Bill Davis got a good car, picked up a new sponsor for this race, and we're going racing.
Green flag.
Saw the orange car drop down, but you cannot pass to the left till you cross the start-finish line. Evidently, his spotter was saying, get back and run, get back and run.
Yeah, all passing has to be to the right-hand side. Sometimes you get a good run on a guy and you forget that.
Here comes Harvick from the inside row, looking for second place. Got it.
Look at that one car up on the outside there. Well, I think he may have been blocked.
Scott Wimmer pulls the train around Daytona International Speedway. Kevin Harvick is second. 3 cars single file out front.
It's kind of when you tippy-toe just a little bit. I mean, the track's still got some moisture around it, but nothing that's going to hurt these cars. Nothing's going to bother them. But still, it's a distraction to the driver. It's on his mind. He has to be a little attentive at first.
Up to third, rookie Jamie McMurray. That 27 car has been in the top 5 all day.
You know, looking at Scott Wimmer, I talked to Bill Davis, who owns his car, and he said the biggest thing he's had to adjust to is he's never had a crew chief to relate to. He drove the car, he made the decisions, he got out, made the changes.
That's typical ASA racing where you know, like I said, it's him, his dad, and his brother. They just work on it and race it.
Four cars now at the front, double wide from there on back.
Larry, these cars seem to want to get into you know, they've been in there. That's it, Brad Baker. He's been working on his defensive line, his front bumper. These cars seem to get in single file a little bit quicker than what we've seen the Winston Cups do. They seem to, maybe the aero package with these cars doesn't allow them to do all that side-by-side racing.
Just again, I think they won't pull back. They won't suck up in the draft. There you see, I believe that's Jeff Purvis in the Joe Gibbs car pulling the line to the inside.
You think it's that, or you think they just ain't got the spurts?
Could be a little of both.
Here comes Purvis. This is Nemechek. You see his red bumper nestled right up against Purvis. Coming off turn 4.
Boy, that's a rough. Look at that choppy ride that thing's coming across those bumps. That's it. All that rebound and those shocks. That's what makes them go fast. Makes them ride rough, too.
Purvis climbs to third. Now he's making Kevin Harvick nervous.
Taking Joe Nemechek with him. That inside line, they've kicked Harvick up to the top side. The inside line is really moving.
Well, I think because of the rain, the cooler temperatures, now you can run the low line again because there's grip back down there. Oh, here we go. They want to make a lead change down the back here. They're fighting for it.
But remember, these cars are slipperier in the draft than the Winston Cup cars, so it's harder to pass.
And we have a headwind now, too. The cars are buffing a headwind down the back straightaway. That could have some effect on the passing, too.
We talk about hard to pass, but I know it's early, but we need to keep an eye on Joe Nemechek. He restarted this race here after the caution. Here we go, 3 wide down the front stretch.
That's Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the inside, that red car. And caught in the middle, Jay Sauter.
Jay Sauter says, what did I do to deserve this? How did I get myself in this mess? Although he seems to be able to drive right out of it, and I know that Junior gave him a break there, let him in line. Worked for him.
I know we talk about 3 wide a lot, and why that's dangerous, the racetrack's plenty wide as they snake down the back straightaway here. Scott Wimmer is not going to let them have that first place position. The racetrack's wide enough for 3 cars, even 4 cars, but the way these cars jump around, if they get a little bit loose there or the front end pushes, they're into another car. That's when the big one happens.
Yeah, you got to have a little margin for error there, and we're not allowing ourselves much when we're 3 and 4 wide.
Boy, the Vice Titans from 8th place on back. That yellow car's Jeff Green battling McMurray, who's dropped 2 spots from the restart position.
Well, Larry and I watched that yellow car right there, Jeff Green, yesterday in practice. He probably ran the most laps of anybody out there, and he's got a pretty fast hot rod. I think he'll pull his way right to the front.
Well, let's listen in at these 420 horsepower machines as they rattle around Daytona. Let's crank it up.
Yeah, have you ever done any juking and jiving? Well, these guys right here are juking and jiving. They have been into each other, bouncing off of each other, bounced off the wall. That's in that. Keep a camera right there. The 8 is hung in the middle, and he just can't. He can't go anywhere. And boys, they come down this front, especially down. Now watch this. Whoops! Whoa! Oh man! Good thing he didn't have another coat of paint on that thing.
Now at the front, 4 cars have broken away from the field. We have yet to see a green flag lead change in this race. Scott Wimmer took the restart on point. Jeff Purvis has not been able to take the front spot away. Joe Nemechek is with him, and P.J. Jones. And they've opened up a second on the field.
What you hope for, I mean, ideally, you'd love to get about 3 or 4 guys together like those 4 cars are and get away from all that action behind you. But I think these cats behind them are smart enough to know they got to get single file, and they better do it quick.
Well, they're finally getting single file, and they are starting to run that group down, those top 4 cars. Even though they're single file, when you get as many, which looks like right now about 24 cars behind them, you can run 4 cars down.
Remember, Randy LaJoie, number 7, right in the middle of your screen there.
He's right here.
Had to make that pit stop.
That wasn't him. He's up here.
Had to make the pit stop to tighten those left side lugs. He's had to come from the tail end of the field on the restart. LaJoie has only been able to make it up to 32nd place. Now he moves past Michael Walter, picks up another spot. But it's a long road to climb toward the front.
Well, Mikey's car doesn't seem to be, Uncle Mike's car doesn't seem to be running too good today.
No.
He's blowing by him left and right.
30 laps complete, this time by. 30 laps, 75 miles.
You know, one thing we hadn't talked about, especially when you look at these lead 4 cars, is, Darrell, they're all Pontiacs. And in qualifying, 10 out of the first 11 cars was Pontiacs. Why? Because it appears the center of the spoiler in the center where the air hits causes drag. Won't let it go down the straightaway. On the Pontiacs is just a little bit lower than other makes, and I think that's one reason. 1, a lot of people come here to run Pontiacs. 2, the Pontiacs are running up front.
Yeah, a lot of teams, those 11 teams are all cars that'll probably switch back to a Monte Carlo or something else at other racetracks. But here the rules favor the Pontiac.
For more on our race leader, Scott Wimmer, Steve Burns.
Darrell, you're talking about the ASA, the American Speed Association. That's the same division of stock car racing that produced Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. Scott Wimmer grew up working on race cars. He knows every nut and bolt of a race car. He knows how to put them together. And so far, he's showing that he knows how to drive one. Matt Yoakum.
Steve, the 4 Pontiacs out front is the worst nightmare for many of the Chevrolet teams. They had predicted that if the Pontiacs ganged up, they could pull away. Right now, the 2 of Kevin Harvick is hoping that his drafting buddy, the 10 car of Jeff Green, can get up there and help him, because together they were very good in happy hour. It didn't matter if the 10 was in front or behind the 2. They worked very well.
Mike McLaughlin in the 20 moving up alongside Harvick. That 20 had a bare quarter panel yesterday. It was unsponsored as of yesterday afternoon. That's changed.
You know, I could always work on my car too, but I didn't let anybody know it. I let somebody else do it.
Another fella Scott Wimmer brings to mind, Alan Kulwicki, the 92 Winston Cup champion, who built and worked on his own cars in ASA all the way up through winning the Winston Cup championship.
That's a prime example right here. What we saw, Darrell, 6 cars is better than 2, because when Mike McLaughlin moved to the high side, those other 5 cars come with him, and away they went right past Kevin Harvick and Jeff Green.
The high side is just this year down here, which is a different. The high side's the way to run.
That second group, Darrell, is catching that lead quartet.
Yeah, it's you'd like to be able to get away from everybody, but I tell you, it's going to take a special effort to break away from the pack if everybody will get drafting like those guys behind them are. As long as they can run their cars wide open, they'll be able to catch back up. And that's what you look for. You let the guy in front that can run the turn wide open. That way you can fall back a little in the turn, but you can draft back up on him down the straightaway, and you both will make good time that way.
There you see McLaughlin, the black car, leading the second pack. They are just about 12 car lengths back of the lead 4. Gone through the pack.
And, you know, we talk about running wide open. There's only 2 racetracks that we go to where you can literally hold the throttle all the way down, all the way around the racetrack without lifting. That's here in Talladega. Everywhere else, that's a part of the driving style that every driver has, is how he finesses the throttle, how he gets in the turn, how he gets back on the gas.
What a difference, though, in the aerodynamic package between the Winston Cup and the Busch cars. Today, we've gone 34 laps without a green flag lead change. Tomorrow, I'll bet we don't go 3 laps without a lead change.
Tony, we might even make it to turn 3.
And you know, that's when you have to give NASCAR a tip of the hat. They knew they needed to do something, and this is living proof right here that they did the right thing.
Rookie Scott Wimmer leads them around to complete 35 laps. Jeff Purvis in second, Joe Nemechek, P.J. Jones. Mike McLaughlin keeps drawing that second pack closer to the front. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Welcome back to Fox Sports coverage of the Napa 300 at Daytona. Tomorrow, the Daytona 500. Well, Mike McLaughlin has pulled that second pack right up onto the leaders. And here they come with McLaughlin now climbing his way up into 4th spot, dispatching pole sitter Joe Nemechek to 5th.
This performance by Scott Wimmer, what a story it is for a rookie driver. He's out of that Wisconsin area, up around Wausau. Gave us Dave Marcus, which gave us all that Sauter gang. He's 2-time a track champion on little tracks, like the 3rd mile up there at Golden Sands, and he was a track champion at Wisconsin Dells. But this is the first time in his life that he has ever been on a super speedway, and look at that cat travel.
His uncle was short track great Larry Dachins.
Uh-oh, we got a fight for the lead. Here we go. Going to get some action going here now. Everybody's tired of riding a little bit. Another guy's doing a great job. Jamie McMurray there. He's running along in 5th place.
Purvis, does he get the lead? He does.
Got it. He wanted that lead badly, and he went for it, buddy, and he's got it.
Now, P.J. Jones pulls up alongside Wimmer.
And one thing we got to remember, Scott Wimmer did not pit that last time, so he's out there on a lot older tires than these other cars, and that could be weighing on him right now that we're coming up here on lap 40. He's been out there a long time on those tires.
Yes, he has.
Right now, he just don't have any help, he doesn't.
First green flag lead change of the day. Wimmer will get back in line, but back at 9th place. P.J. Jones, son of the '64 Indy 500 winner, has fought his way up to 2nd place. Matt?
He's a former 24 Hours winner, Mike, but before today, only one other stock car start here in Daytona. During happy hour, they did not have PJ out running with a lot of other cars in the draft because this is their best piece. They didn't want to take a chance with his inexperience of gambling on losing this car. He did very well sucking up the other cars, but he had trouble trying to make the pass. Today is going to be a very big learning experience for P.J. Jones.
One thing they did find, though, after happy hour is they had a gear, a 3rd member that was burning up on them. They circulate the gear grease through the rear end to cool it, and they use an electric pump. And P.J., as he went out one of the practice sessions, he forgot to cut the pump on and burnt the rear end up. So they did make that change this morning.
Now, would you blame that on the driver, or would you blame that on the crew chief?
As a crew chief, I take it upon my shoulders to remind the driver to flip all the switches up, you know, his tachometer, his rear end blower, his transmission cooler, anything that needs to be cut on, electric fan, to me, it's on the crew chief's shoulders to remind him.
Well, that's why I said that, because I have done that very thing, and I've always felt kind of bad about it, but then on the other hand, I thought, well, why didn't you remind me, man? Got my hands full out here. You could have helped me out a little bit.
Got a lot on your mind.
I got a lot on my mind.
Joe Nemechek has his hands full. 3 abreast down to turn 1. And Nemechek gets shuffled back to 6th place.
So Nemechek was right up there, you know, fighting for the lead a little while ago, but he seems to be maybe struggling a little bit now. But look who's gotten into the picture. the old champ from last year has found his way to the front.
Number 10, Jeff Green, chasing last year's Truck Series champion, Greg Biffle. Biffle driving the number 60 car Mark Martin has had such great success with. And here's Matt Kenseth mixing it up.
We're talking about Wimmer, but another guy that's doing a pretty good job, I think, is the cat running 6, and that's Jamie McMurray. And he's another one of those Midwesterners. He's from Joliet, Missouri, and he's doing a pretty darn good job right now in that car, in that 27 car.
A 13-car lead pack. There's Biffle moving underneath McMurray, taking Jeff Green, number 10, with him.
And one thing that comes to mind when I look at those two cars, they're not team cars. And here Jeff Green, he's going to make it 3 wide to go below Biffle without any help, and he's going to complete the pass going into turn 3. But Dick Bergman, what are they saying about Greg Biffle?
Well, what they're saying about Greg Biffle is that he has had a lot of help getting that race car ready and getting himself ready for this event from Jeff Burton, the Winston Cup driver. Burton has taken it upon himself to get Biffle in the groove here at Daytona. He has been a constant visitor to the pits. He has been repeatedly on the telephone as well. Burton, the teacher, Biffle, the student. This is his first time ever at Daytona in a car.
We'll ring the bell. Class is in session. As Kevin Harvick drives up through the middle in car 2, you see that Biffle has moved from 20th back to 26th, and now he's climbed the ladder to 10th place.
There's Todd Bodine in the 00 car, the Buckshot car. Doing a good job hanging in there today.
What I was saying, even though the 10 and the 60 there, Jeff Green and Greg Biffle aren't teammates, they both use Roush motors. And the thing that impresses me when I look at Jeff Green in the yellow 10 car is this is the champion from last year. Dominated series, but those guys pulled their belt tight, and they changed makes to the Ford Taurus this year, and here they are running right up front at Daytona.
75 laps to go. Whoa, Jeff Green took Biffle downstairs. Didn't work. Biffle kept his foot in it. The 60 car moves up a spot.
It's kind of like a payback. Jeff did that to him going into 3. Biffle said, hey, I might be new to this series, but you're going to have to deal with me, baby.
One green flag lead change as Purvis. Jeff Purvis from Clarksville, Tennessee, one of the nation's top late model dirt track drivers. Now in the Busch Grand National Series, he'll also be in the Daytona 500 tomorrow. And he is up front.
And, you know, I tell you, we were talking about this yesterday as we watched practice. Jeff Purvis drove one of the best. Trouble, man, big trouble.
Big spin off turn 4.
It's Nemechek.
It's McMurray.
Oh, it's McMurray.
The rookie pinched the car down coming out of turn 4. No contact. Here comes the rest of the field to the caution flag. Without incident.
Look at that. Nothing but a flat tire.
He will have to have 4 tires, I promise you. What isn't flat is flat spotted.
He's going right into his pit stall.
Jeannie?
Well, they've made their way in for the pit stop, and yes, indeed, they're going for what looks to be all 4 tires at this time. They're making it over the wall, going for the fuel instead. We're waiting for the damage to come over the wall. We'll share it with you. Here it is. Yes, indeed, that tire just has a nice big old hole in it.
Air guns whirring, and McMurray pulls away. That is not a flat spotted tire. That's gone.
That's a worn out tire. Worn out from sliding down the racetrack with the brakes locked. Here we go. Let's take another look at it.
Watch McMurray on the inside.
He's right here. He's coming off of turn 4. Looks like that thing just does that little snap loose thing, Larry, where the car gets to pushing, cranks into it, and the back end hops around.
It started bouncing, got loose. That's the reason 3 wide's dangerous. They was only 2 wide there. Had they have been 3 wide, there'd have been a lot more cars involved than Jamie McMurray.
Did a great job of keeping that thing off the wall, and he's going to get back and join the field.
And it's pit stop time with the caution flag out.
Guess what? He could be leading this race when they come back around.
After pit stops, I think we can explain why.
Yeah.
Dick Berggren.
Joe Nemechek on his way to the pit. This is a new crew this year. Many of his older crew members went off to the joy his teammate. As a result, this is the first time that they have really had an opportunity to pit under fire. Outside tires on. Let's go to Steve.
Dick, Jeff Purvis getting attention from Doug Richards' crew. 4 tires. Now coming around to the left side. No chassis adjustments. This number 18 Pontiac is running well. Left side tire going on. for Jeff Purvis. The 60 car goes out, the 57. Now Purvis is finally down and away.
Matt Yocum.
The 2 car was blocked in. He's now finally down and away, but a very, very lengthy 4-tire pit stop for Kevin Harvick.
And a couple of tires.
And we got tires everywhere. There's two tires out here in the infield.
Let's show you what happened to the number 2 of Kevin Harvick. Bobby Hamilton Jr. was pitted right in front of him. He didn't have room to get out, so he had to kind of K-turn it and take off.
Now, if you'll notice, folks, nobody's going to run out here and get these because they don't want the NASCAR people to know who they belong to, because their driver's going to get penalized for that.
Oh, those wheels are each marked with a car number.
Oh, they are.
Somebody will get it. There's McMurray's car going
there he
around.
Goes right there. He just cut it down, a lot like what happened to Tony Stewart over in the qualifying race Thursday. He just cut it down and the back end hopped out. And Larry, like you said, he got to going through the rough part of the track.
But now I'm gonna make a call right here. He's on pit road right now. When he crosses that's on pit road. So the caution is not out. Heads up, possibly by his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe. NASCAR says that you can't come on the pit road when the caution comes out until pit road is opened by the pace car. But what I think those guys got their 4 tires, he may well have the lead of this race.
I think he does.
That replay from Matt Kenseth's car. And there is McMurray, the rookie, back out with fresh tires.
When you get down underneath somebody like that, the front end will it'll really start to push. You'll lose air off the front end, and the front tires feel real light. And as you crank into that thing, when the front tires bite, the back tires come around, and that's when you head into the fence.
Third caution of the day. This one for rookie Jamie McMurray. Spin off turn number 4. He'll be back out there, and we'll be right back.
The Napa Auto Parts 300 on Fox is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running.
Welcome back to Daytona. Third caution is out. McMurray is the leader because he got out of the pits before everyone else came in. But NASCAR is reviewing the call. The caution flag may have been out for McMurray before he got to pit road, in which case, for pitting before pit road was open under caution, he may need to go to the back of the line.
And here's Jamie McMurray right here, off of turn 4, gets loose and spins. And again, if the caution flag's flying right now, they possibly have been making the right call. But right now, he's entering pit road. Here you'll see him go across the line. That opens pit road right there, and he's on pit road. Now, again, I think I would question this call. This is probably where I'd be out there doing my Bobby Knight impression on pit road.
Well, that's what this young man's trying to tell him right now. Hey, man, I slid on the pit road. What are you talking about?
But, Larry, he had lost such momentum and was traveling so slow. The leader did get the caution at the line. And that was well before he came.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you would tell is if you had a shot of the caution flag looking down toward Jamie McMurray to understand it. But you know, they had to come pit road and get their 4 tires, and the penalty for pitting before pit road opens is exactly what they're trying to make him do now. Go to the tail end of the longest line. But I would definitely be. I think Jason Ratcliffe's doing right, arguing this point.
Oh, sure, he's got a lobby for the call.
Yeah, I love it that I argued, but guess what?
Pace car's in, and we're going racing.
And he's in the back.
Green flag. Greg Biffle, your leader. Jason Keller, Jeff Purvis, Mike McLaughlin, and Joe Nemechek take him to turn 1.
See the white car 46, that's Ashton Lewis Jr. He was the only car that was a lap down that started on the inside.
Let's go down to Jeannie with Jamie McMurray's crew chief.
Yeah, Jason Ratcliffe, I'm going to let you argue your case here for us.
Well, they claim that pit road was closed when we came down pit road. Of course, when he got through spinning, he was already on pit road, so I don't understand it. I mean, we'll have to talk about it after the race is over. But I mean, right now we got to do what they say. Drop to the back. We're still on the lead lap. Guys did a good job getting the car back out there, and we'll see what happens.
right, thank you. Difficult to figure out how he could have made it around the track because 2 tires were out. Dick?
Randy LaJoie, one of the pre-race favorites, is having his problems in the pits today. He has a brand new crew, and they have fluffed both pit stops. The first one, they didn't get all the lug nuts tight. This one, they let a wheel go. NASCAR penalized them, put him toward the tail. Steve?
Dick, Tim Sauter in the 61 is another one of those hard-working guys who came out of the ASA series. He's pitting right next to Jeff Purvis. The 61 came in and took just 2 tires. They're back up or into 4th position, Matt Yoakum.
Steve, some strategy on the 60 car of Greg Biffle. Crew chief Randy Goss decided to not pit for tires in that last caution. They just topped off the car with fuel because they did use 4 tires in their first stop. They felt like they got a late caution. They would not have a set to put on that was fresh.
Each team limited to 3 sets of tires in this race.
You know, Mike, I'm a big advocate of a tire rule. I wish we had one in Winston Cup. It's another part of the strategy of running the race. You got to worry about fuel. You got to worry about a lot of things. You should have to worry about tires as well.
I know I questioned the call earlier on some of those guys taking tires, but these cars had a lot of laps on their tires, and as we can probably see, Greg Biffle, he's already fell back to 12th, so I don't think just gassing going is working out for him.
Not at this point. I mean, that was a good caution. That was a good time for a caution for everybody because they had made long runs. They could look at their tire wear, fuel mileage. They could look at a lot of things after that run, so I'd have been in that pit hollering. If my crew chief told me to stay, I'd been in there.
New 2nd place car, Nemechek, the pole sitter, gets past Mike McLaughlin, and now he's hunting the lead.
And again, Nemechek's one of those guys that could, you know, make some adjustments on his car. We know he has a fast car, and he led the race early on, so I'm sure he'll be looking for the lead again.
That's Nemechek right behind race leader Jeff Purvis. McLaughlin on the outside. With P.J. Jones and Kevin Grubb, Nemechek now in that red car needs a drafting partner.
That's called the hung out to dry. And he'll get a dry spot right behind that 10 car. And if there was no hole there, he may end up in 20th place. So that's what happens when you try to make a move and you don't quite make it.
Green flag running in the Busch Series with these rules a lot different than what we expect tomorrow in the Daytona 500 with the new Winston Cup aerodynamic package for Daytona and Talladega. As much single file racing as we're seeing right now, we expect a lot more lead changes tomorrow. Well, that 6-car breakout is no more. Now that lead draft has more than 20 cars along for the ride.
What you usually find, Mike, is that the race goes on, you catch a caution every now and then, guys will get their cars better, and they'll be able to keep up. That was a really timely caution for a lot of people. Don't have the money to spend in Winston Cup people do.
Right.
So this is the rules they ran under last year with some slight modifications, and that allowed them to run the same car here this year that they ran last year if they elected to.
5 lead changes today, and in the Busch Series, that's in sharp contrast to what we've seen in Winston Cup already this week. Look at the difference last year to this. In the Winston Cup cars, 40 lead changes in the 3 races thus far, only 5 at this point last year. A much more competitive Daytona 500 is on tap for tomorrow.
Well, I made the statement a year ago that in the stands, they needed to put cots because the fans was going to take a nap. They don't need to eat seats this year because they ain't going to never sit down during the race.
Now, that's one thing that I've had added to my chair here in the booth. I've had me a set of seat belts to put in mine, so tomorrow I'm getting ready. And an oxygen tank right here behind me.
Before Pontiacs have started to pull away, Mike McLaughlin called to his crew and asked, call Purvis and ask him, does he like to run up high or down low? Where does he run the best? And that's where I will go. Purvis called back and said, I'm good everywhere, wherever he wants to go. So right now, the 2 Gibbs cars holding down 1 and 2.
Yeah, let's not forget those 2 lead cars. Teammates. Here's trouble for Bobby Hamilton.
The only reason he stopped there is because he's got a tire problem of some kind. He's got a tire out of balance or equalized or something.
A lot of side-by-side racing in that second pack. That's the reason for the gap between these cars and the leaders. Todd Bodine, 0-0 on the inside. And look at Kenseth in 17 pushing Kevin Harvick all the way into turn 1.
That's what we call a little bit of bump draft. Go up there and just kind of nudge him a little bit. Just keep pushing him a little harder.
Yeah, there's some people I didn't mind doing that to me, but there were others that would take my breath away when they did that. Do you think Gibbs, this is the Joe Gibbs car leading the race. Do you think Gibbs has got anything figured out about this Winston Cup deal? Bradshaw was in here a little earlier. We should have asked him about Joe Gibbs.
Got to believe that Joe Gibbs preaches the same thing he did as when he was a football coach, and that team concept, continuity of people, working together, pulling together. Because in this sport, if you're pulling together, it's hard to beat these other people. If you're not pulling together, you're not going to beat them.
Yeah, and Jason Leffler, you know, who jumped out of this.
Boy, did you see?
Oh, my gosh.
Got real loose right there up in the corner.
Oh, that was big. What was I going to say?
I don't know. We're all catching our breath. That was close to calamity. Boy, Jeff Green continues to climb this ladder. This time he's pulling Joe Nemechek there. That yellow car is Jeff Green, the series champion.
We've got a new car that's kind of joined the lead group. We hadn't talked about him much. The green car there on the bottom, that's Kevin Grubb in the 37 car.
Larry, we watched him in practice yesterday, you and I did, and he had a very fast car in practice yesterday. And you know the thing about that 10 car, Jeff Green's car, I believe if this thing will stay up under Green for a while, that he will be the man to beat, because his car keeps getting better and better and better. It's a Ford Taurus, and I think it's got to add a lot more downforce than some of these other cats do. So it'll work for him in the end.
He's gunning for second spot right now off turn 2 inside of Mike McLaughlin, and he's got help. Here comes Green.
The reason he can do that is he can run off that corner wide open.
And he's not going to settle for second. Jeff Green looking for the lead.
It's a man on a mission right there, boys.
But will he make it back to the line and make it the 6th lead change of the day?
He's got him some help, though, with Joe Nemechek. I'd say he will. We're going to be halfway this time. Halfway home, 60 laps down.
Come on, Jeff, get to the line, get to the line. Oh, he made it. Lead change.
He did by 4 1/1000ths of a second. That number keeps coming up. Look, right there on the monitor, 4 1/1000ths.
And Mike, making the manufacturer switch, Harold Howley, Jeff Green's crew chief, decided to pick this car up from Cal Wells' Busch operation because they were going to run Winston Cup this year. So this car has been in the wind tunnel several times, done a lot of aero work, and making that switch in manufacturers, they wanted to spend more time with their downforce stuff since there are only 2 restrictor plate races, Talladega and Daytona. They were very happy with this car. The 57 car was built, a carbon copy of this body. They were very pleased with both cars, and the 10 car runs very well out front. Dick?
Kevin Grubb is having a terrific run today in that number 37 car. He has stayed up front much of the day. What a surprise, what a change from last year when, believe it or not, Kevin Grubb wasn't fast enough to make the field. He was a DNQ for this event.
That's right.
I want to be up here because I don't want to be back there to what's behind these guys.
Yeah, back here.
Oh, look at this. That's
a mess.
That's a wad of cars. And they're closing down on that front pack a little bit.
Jeff Green led 1 lap and proved what he had to prove, that he could get to the front. That's important because it's worth 5 bonus points toward the championship for each driver who leads a lap. Green led 1 lap. Once they confirmed that he'd led it, he dropped off to the back of that pack. 62 laps complete. Jeff Purvis is again the leader over McLaughlin, Nemechek, P.J. Jones, and Kevin Grubb. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Back to Daytona, 8-car breakaway at the front of the field as you watch from the Budweiser.com airship. Budweiser reminding all race fans, Bud is NASCAR's official beer. 6 leaders, 7 lead changes. Under Green, average speed 183 miles an hour. 37 cars still on the lead lap, and we waited through an hour and 28-minute rain delay, but it's been worth it. We've had a great battle here, as right now 8 cars up on the point, taking it away from Jason Keller, leading that second pack in 9th place. And This is the lead pack, and they can't even stay single file for long.
No, and it's really, they've run just long enough now that the tires...
Whoa, there's Todd Bodine and P.J. Jones getting together. There's a case of that car jumping sideways coming up off the corner.
All these drivers complained about their cars being tight off the corner, and that's the worst thing that can happen to you here, because either you got to lift, scrape it into the wall, or hit the guy beside of you.
And Darrell, tight, you got those front wheels turned. The front wheels aren't just biting, the tires aren't biting. The only way you can get it to turn is back off just a little bit.
And you know, with the restrictor plate, if you lift, you're doomed. You can't go anywhere.
Further back in that pack, they were 3 wide going into turn 1. Look at this front pack. P.J. Jones lost a bit of momentum, dropped him back a bit in the number 1 car, but he's fighting right back underneath that green 37 of Kevin Grubb.
Yeah, it's all about momentum right now. It's all about who's getting off the corners right now. That's why, man, I mean, Todd Bodine down on the inside, and Buckshot's car is getting ready to spread a little buckshot.
Todd Bodine missed the Daytona 500 because he got bumped in that 5-wide melee on the last lap, got bumped out of a qualified spot. Now he's trying to get to the lead with Kevin Harvick's help.
Going to go up on the outside.
Bodine 0-0.
Oh, he look to the outside. Can't do it.
See if Harvick can give him the push down the straightaway. They have a look inside of Jeff Purvis. Not this time.
No, Purvis has pretty well got him covered right now. I say right now because it could change any moment.
Here's the second pack. They've gone single file to try and catch this lead bunch. And they're working on it.
Well, I look at the car that's leading the second pack, the blue and white car, the 57, Jason Keller. Those guys only got 8 laps of practice in happy hour. The alternator shorted out and burnt every wire under the hood out. They had to replace everything from the radiator back to the dash. The NASCAR says, here we go for a lead change.
Bodine on the outside. Purvis trying to hold him off. Bodine can't get there.
Purvis is strong up off that corner.
Todd Bodine needed somebody a little closer to his rear bumper for drafting help.
Yeah, you got to have some help, and he's just not getting it.
Now he's got Mike McLaughlin. Those two are old combatants in the NASCAR Modified Series before they moved up to Busch Series racing.
If they can quit wobbling around and sliding sideways, they might get the job done. But, man, they got their hands full. These things are all over the place.
2 abreast, and that will allow that second group to catch the leaders.
It's your worst nightmare. All of a sudden you look in your mirror and there's somebody behind me.
Now it's everybody.
And that's when you holler at that spotter and say, why didn't you tell me they were closing down on us? I can't. I'm watching the race right now.
Now that lead draft has 15 cars in it.
Hey, guys, I was just sitting there for watching. A minute ago, I saw J.D. Gibbs of Gibbs Racing come down to the 87 car of Nemechek's and talk to Brian Patty to try, I guess, set up a deal as we go further in this race. I guess deals are already being made.
Well, the lead car is part of that Joe Gibbs operation. Let's go down to pit road. Steve?
And the key member of the Joe Gibbs Racing Winston Cup operation of Bobby Labonte, Jimmy Makar, is down here. Jimmy, how can you help Doug Richard, Jeff Purvis, and these guys?
Well, right now, kind of just talking about the track changes, what happened from yesterday to today. Kind of trying to get a little information for ourselves for happy hour to see what kind of way we may need to go on adjustments. But while I'm down here, we're talking a little bit about pit strategy, what might be coming up, whether to get 2 tires, 4 tires, and see if we can get some partners to come down pit road with us if we indeed do get 4.
Thanks, Jimmy. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
Jeff Purvis people were just down here at Joe Nemechek's pit, and they tried to cut a deal. I asked Brian Patty, have you guys got a deal? He shook his head no, said, nope, I don't trust anybody. They do not have a deal. They wanted to try to pit together. It's not going to happen. To Matt.
Dick, several laps ago, Harold Holly kept motioning to the pit next to him of the 00 and crew chief Gary Cogswell. They kept motioning. Finally, Cogswell came over and said, why do we have a problem? Because we're trying to get him to stay in line, but the problem is the Pontiacs do not work well with the Fords, and that's why Buckshot's car will not work with the 10 car of Jeff Green. So Todd Bodine just pulled out. Now they're back working together, but the problem is the aero, as we've heard all week.
That 15-car lead pack is now down to 14. Steve Grissom's engine has gone sour. He's holding 15th place, but he's lost the lead draft.
And it may or may not have gone south. when you lose the draft, that's what it feels like somebody pulled a couple of plug wires off of the thing.
There's the lead pack, 14 strong. Chase Sauter, 43, mixing it up with Matt Kenseth. Jeff?
Guys, what's going on here, because all these deals are trying to be made so early in this pit strategy situations, because if you lose a good dance partner, you're not going to have a chance to win this race. And everybody realizes that. We've seen all day long how hard it is to pass. And if you can't keep up with a good dance partner, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
The reason they're making these deals, and we talk about dance partners, just so you understand what's going on. Here at Daytona, you run so much faster with other cars or a group of cars that you don't want to pit by yourself and be hung out there alone running a second slower than the rest of the field.
So you're saying game show host Monty Hall would have made a good crew chief?
Let's make a deal right now.
Yeah, and that's about what it is. It's about a second's difference when you're in the drafting, with people and when you get hung out.
And even though we're several laps away from possible green flag stops, you can't wait till right to the last moment to make your deal. You got to start making it way in advance. And right now we are in the fuel window that if we did have a caution, everybody could pit, fuel, and tires and make it to the end.
9 cars are showing a little bit of a gap to those next 5. That 9th place car, that red 61 of Tim Sauter. And he has some breathing room on Brother Jay in 10th place.
When those leaders, when they get back single file and don't race each other, they leave that back 4 or 5 there. But when they get to racing each other like they did earlier, then they all close back up again.
Now Tim Sauter, 61. He's losing that front 8.
As long as these front guys stay lined up like they are right now, they'll pull away from these 5 or 6 guys at the back here. But they don't seem to want to do that very long.
They won't do it but about a half a lap.
You won't see that in tomorrow's Daytona 500. That field will be all snuggled right up with the new aerodynamic rules. Figuring fuel mileage on pit road. When to stop and who will come with you when you do? That's the question. We'll be right back. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Jeff Purvis continues to lead the Napa 300. One day till the Daytona 500, and we're going to be wall-to-wall NASCAR on Fox tomorrow. It all kicks off. NASCAR this morning, 10 a.m. Then the Dodge Countdown to Daytona, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The Dodge Daytona pre-race show. At noon, you'll hear from all your favorite drivers, and then we'll bring you the 43rd Daytona 500 on Fox at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Purvis, Nemechek, and P.J. Jones have just a little bit of breathing room there on Todd Bodine. And they've pulled away now from 5th place, Kevin Grubb.
Well, this may be the most important day in his career for Jeff Purvis. You know, he's been the master of dirt. He's gone to Rossburg, Ohio, and 5 times won that World 100 on dirt. He came so close in 1998 to running down Joe Nemechek in this very race. But at the end of the event, he and 3 others got together to try to run down Nemechek. Somebody got on the radio to Nemechek and said, hey, there's 3 guys coming up. They're intending to have their own party. Nemechek says, that's all right. I'll have my own by myself. And he beat the guy at the finish line. Purvis finishing 2nd in 98. This is his 8th try, and he's looking good right now out in front with Joe Gibbs' car.
Right in his tire tracks, Joe Nemechek, then P.J. Jones. Look at the different backgrounds of these front 4 racers. Purvis came from dirt late models. Nemechek from asphalt short track late models. P.J. Jones has raced Indy cars, and Todd Bodine open wheel NASCAR modifieds. But here they all are, all on equal footing. From Michael Waltrip on back, single file.
Yeah, these guys are, I don't know if they've scared each other to death. I think that's really what's happened. They finally got tired of scaring themselves, and they've kind of gotten sandied up here a little bit, and they're more single file.
13 cars in the lead draft. That 4-car breakaway now you see comes to naught because they've gotten single file behind the front 4. They're pulling back down, sucking up. I think Bobby Hamilton called it during the rain delay.
That's it. They're poking a hole in that air, and the other ones is falling right through it. But yeah, I mean, the pack has definitely thinned out. We got 13 cars a while ago. We had 20-something. But what happened from about 14th back, they got to running side by side, mixing, passing, all into each other, and that group got away.
All right, Larry Mack, how long do you wait to pit under green?
You're going to see a lot of monkey see, monkey do with the leaders, you know, but with one car hits pit road, you can't be too far behind them. But if I'm the crew chief, we pitted about lap 47. These cars can run about 52, 54 laps. About lap 100 to 105, I'm going to be in there, and I'm going to get me 2 tires, and I'm going to get enough gas to go. Steve Burns, what are they saying down there?
Well, Larry Mack, the window is going to open up at about lap 90 for the Joe Gibbs teams. Now, both of the Joe Gibbs teams are going to make chassis adjustments by using duct tape. They're going to put tape across the nose of those Pontiacs to help them handle as we go to the closing laps of this race.
One of the things I can tell you that's going to dictate what everybody does, how good a pit crew do you have? What can we do?
How's the crew driving right now?
It's driving good. Why? Where'd they come from?
That was one of the spotters talking to him, and again, the spotters, they do a lot of the driving of these race cars up there. They not only do they look for trouble, they're telling them high, clear, low.
But one of the things they want to do is they're starting to ask the drivers about the cars, and that's going to dictate what they do on a pit stop too. 2 tires, 4 tires. Hey, maybe gas and go. Who knows?
Kevin Grubb, 37, try to run down almost the apron on Todd Bodine. He's going to get underneath Bodine and move up, but that will let the front 5 get away from those 2 cars battling for 6th.
And let's explain what adjustment they're going to make with the duct tape. They're going to put it across the nose where the air goes through to the radiator. What that does, the more tape you put on it, it decreases the drag. It makes it run faster through the air and also puts more front downforce. The reason they can do that is because the air is getting cooler and it's not taking as much to cool the radiator with the cooler temperature.
On pit road comes Mike Bliss.
Well, let me tell you something. He's going to be coming back down pit road in just a minute because I don't know if he got knocked into the pits. That's what it kind of appeared like. But definitely too fast.
Brian Patty, crew chief for Joe Nemechek, has just gone down pit road. He's cut a deal with Jeff Green's crew chief and Kevin Grubb's crew chief. But here's P.J. Jones' crew chief, Johnny Allen, in here all at the same time. So here we go. The deal making is done. The guy in the yellow is with Jeff Green. The guy in the orange is with P.J. Jones, and Brian Patty is the guy in the red. And they're all trying to decide, when do we come in? They're all going to have to do the same thing.
Trouble
on the racetrack.
Turn 2. One car spinning wildly. This will change everything as we'll go to caution. Torn up is the front end of Jay Sauter's car, number 43.
It's Todd Bodine and Buckshot 00 car.
He was the one who was sliding all over the place, and Kevin Grubb.
Now, they had been battling side by side for 6th place.
See Todd trying to get out of the grass. Remember, it's rained here, and that grass is very wet. You don't get very good traction with these slick tires.
This happened going into turn 1. Grubb's car is green, Bodine's is white.
Here's Bodine out here. Kevin Harvick's right behind him. David Green down here, a lap down.
Oops.
Up. He got a little bit of help from that car right there, Harvick. Now, these cars come down the hill. It'll go right back up. Watch it. Right into poor old Kevin Grubb, who had nowhere to go. And, boy, look what a job Kenseth did to get through there, and Wimmer. Both those guys, certainly Kenseth did a great job of getting through that wreck. See, Bodine's still trying to get back up out on the racetrack.
Here's another look from behind. Can't see any contact from this angle.
You know, I think I'd have to have me another look at that one, wouldn't you, Larry? That thing looked like it just started around with him. I know that the car right behind you, like, it'll make you loose, but boy, Kevin Grubb, what a shame,
nowhere
man.
to go, having a good run.
And then here comes Kenseth right through there.
And Wimmer. 23.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a look at that before we...
Grab another gear and let's go.
That's it. And all that, even though that didn't look like a lot of smoke, or it didn't look like it... I believe he just went off into turn 1 and that thing got loose on him.
Right behind you. Clear all around.
And what happens when you've got a car that close to you, especially on old wore-out tires, it takes the air off the rear spoiler and it gets you loose.
A car can get really loose getting into the turn, and especially up high going into turn 1.
Now look at the front end of Bodine's car from coming up on the air. That will push a lot of air under that nose, and he cannot be competitive. Feeding time at the zoo. Pit road's open, Larry.
Feeding time, 4 tires, no doubt in my mind. How about it, Jeannie?
So much for the wheeling and dealing for car chief Johnny Allen and P.J. Jones. And yes, as you said, 4 tires up and over the wall. They're also saying that the car is hair tight coming out of the turns, so they'll work on that right now as well. Dick?
Joe Nemechek is also going to take 4 tires. Crew chief Brian Patty just ripped the plastic off the windshield because the sun has just come out. To Steve.
And Jeff Purvis comes sliding to a stop. 4 tires for the number 18 car. They are going to add tape, as Larry McReynolds explained, to get this and just a little bit harder for the final run. They put the tape on, and he's away.
Caution flag pit stops at lap 85.
I love that first pit right down there at the end of pit road. You get in there, buddy, when they drop the jack, you don't have to worry about anything. You just jump over that line right there. First one there, that's the position. Whoa!
You see Bobby Hamilton Jr., he's in his box, but I'm not sure it's designed to be parked that way.
That's
spun right around coming into the pit. Hamilton may get a lesson in remedial racing there.
I guess you could service a car like that, Larry.
He's got all 4 tires in the box.
He is in the pit box.
I've never seen it done that way.
No. Darrell, let's look again and see if there was contact.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a better look here. Gosh, they're awful close together.
I don't believe he was on him when he got loose. I mean, he wasn't touching it.
You know, I believe he gave him a little shove and got him into turn 1 just a little bit. Took a little air off of him, gave him just a little shove, and it got him loose.
Now let's show you Bobby Hamilton Jr. coming down pit road. Whoop. Locked him up.
Boy, I'll tell you, that's pretty cool.
Like I say, I don't believe it's designed to be done that way, though.
Tell me, when you were a teenager, you didn't practice bootleg turns like that.
Yeah, that's a kid for you right there.
All right, we're under caution at lap 85. And we'll have a new restart in a moment. Welcome back to Fox Sports coverage of the Napa 300 opening round of the Busch Grand National Series. 87 of 120 laps, and after pit stops, Jeff Purvis gets out in front of Randy LaJoie, Mike McLaughlin, Lyndon Amick up in the top 5 for the first time today, and series champion Jeff Green. Now, Joe Nemechek is in 6th. He lost a few spots on that pit exchange. Dick Berggren.
It was a longer than normal, a longer than necessary pit stop. The problem, when Nemechek came into the pit area, he parked too close to the pit wall. Scott Glasscock, his jack man, had a terrible time trying to get it jacked up. Look at him. He's next to the pit wall. He's having to pump and pump and pump and pump because he can't do the 1 pump. Those are 1 pump jacks. He should have been able to push it down just 1 time, and he'd been okay. And look at this. He gets run right out into the lawn by Jeff Green.
So that'll put Nemechek back to 6th. Purvis came in first, went out first. Saw Nemechek's problems. P.J. Jones lost 4 spots. Kevin Harvick lost 7. And Mike McLaughlin picked up 2.
Yeah, but there's a young kid that lost more than all of those guys. What guy we were asking about the way he's pitted in his box, you know?
Bobby Hamilton Jr. Jeff Hammond?
Yeah, Mike, what I've got here is NASCAR issues out what they call a pit road penalty card. And what it does, it shows how you guys can come into the pits and what's the proper way to get in the pit and what kind of penalty would go with it. If you get over the line, it's a 1-lap penalty. That's provided you start working on the car and complete it before you back up. You'll get penalized a lap. This is okay. This is a 1-lap penalty. And this here, you go around or a 1-lap penalty. And, guys, I couldn't find what Bobby Hamilton did anywhere on this card. So, basically, he had what they call a NASCAR safety violation. And that right there is NASCAR's discretion.
And that's a 2-lap penalty for Hamilton Jr.
And that'll be on the card next week.
I think it comes from spinning on pit road. They've always been hard on cars spinning on pit road.
Here we go, guys. Green flag.
We're going to restart at lap 88. Sun's out, Darrell. How will this change the racetrack?
Well, it could change a lot of things. I saw guys pulling tear-offs off their windshield. You know, we got a couple of tear-offs on the windshield that we can pull off during the race. Saw some of them getting ready for the sun, and it could change track temperature. Maybe not dramatically because it's getting late in the afternoon, but it will change.
Talk about the 7 car there, Randy LaJoie. You know, his pit crew has been struggling all day long. They've left lugs loose. Probably the decision they made on this last caution was because of that. They elected to change only 2 tires. Maybe not because the car wanted 2 tires, because they needed some track position.
Here goes LaJoie.
That's for the lead. That 21 car is a lap down.
Purvis fights back on the outside.
Purvis doesn't want to give up that lead, boys. I mean, he's had it this long. He sure doesn't want to give it up now.
For LaJoie, that pit stop was crucial. He's fought his way from the back all the way up to the leaders twice. He was running 15th, 9 seconds back from the leader. He desperately needed a caution to bunch the field up. The 2-tire change has put him right in the front of the hunt, and let's see what he can do with Purvis.
Purvis completes that pass. Here comes LaJoie.
Ken, Jeff Green was a little bit tight over that last run. They made a track bar adjustment on that last pit stop, but the biggest concern was during that spin of top of 9, the 43 car tagged the 10. The 43 of Jay Sauter tagged the 10 in the left rear corner. They thought it might have pushed the fender in slightly. They looked at it when he was on pit road. He was okay, and back to the racetrack.
Battle for the lead. LaJoie on the outside. Purvis on the right of your screen.
LaJoie's got his car owner, Joe Nemechek, pushing him through there to the lead.
Didn't get it. Not at the line. Purvis led that lap. He's led since lap 61. Purvis on the low side reestablishes his dominance of this field.
Darrell, his car is so strong from the center of the corner out. I don't know if they've got a lower gear in that car, but that thing just really rockets up out of the corner.
I believe that's 2 things. I believe he can hold it wide open off that corner all the time, and I believe, like you, Larry, he's got a little lower cog in that baby than the rest of it is, because he shoots off that corner.
Little lower gear means higher RPM coming off that corner.
Just more acceleration. Just gets a little bit better acceleration up off the corner.
Close in mid-pack, running 3 wide. That 61 of Tim Sauter was almost the pinball coming off turn 4. And the cars either side the flipper.
Well, everybody knows that, you know, they're running out of time now, so they're going to take their best shot, and whatever that may be.
29 laps to go.
These guys that have been falling back here, losing the lead draft, they're driving desperately and as hard as they can to try to hang on, because they know if they get in the right place, they can gain a bunch of spots.
7 cars, single file at the point. You're looking back at Randy LaJoie from race leader Jeff Purvis. Now they're back to single file, and the pack tightens once again.
Boy, there's some anxious moments back in that second pack. Whoa, my goodness. I've seen cars, I've never been up here before, obviously. I've seen cars do things I didn't know cars did. I've seen them make moves and slide around and hit each other and get away with it. I didn't know they do that. I've always had tunnel vision. I could just see right straight in front of me.
Remember Chad Little, who started scratch on this field after the driver change. He's up to 9th place.
And that's a good car, and it's a good team. That's a championship-winning car.
Jeff?
Yeah, Mike, I believe I said that I thought Chad maybe have a good, strong car here today. He kept getting bounced around because of bad pit stops, and I think some bad decisions early on. But much like Randy LaJoie, he's now gotten up here toward the front, and he's getting kind of hooked back up to some former teammate as far as Matt Kenseth is concerned, and Greg Biffle. So they've been kind of working good together the last few laps. I've been watching.
Randy LaJoie in second, son of the Danbury, Connecticut race arena great Don LaJoie, who's in Randy's pit today. Had a wild ride here in '84. Came off the turn 4 in the 125-mile qualifier. Flipped the car about 7 times. Totally destroyed it. His comment at the end of it, wow, what a ride. Dick Berggren.
Talk about crew chiefs working together. Wally Rogers is the guy looking at us, smiling in the blue hat. He is crew chief for Randy LaJoie. On the outside, closest to us is Brian Patty. He is crew chief for Joe Nemechek. Their 2 drivers are teammates. Patty helped build Wally Rogers, Randy LaJoie's team. You can bet those 2 cars are going to work together right to the checkered flag. Mike?
They are second and third. The Blue number 7 and that red and black 87. Teammates.
Now, unlike in Winston Cup, I believe that I would want to be in the lead here. I believe I'd want to hold the lead. I'd want to fight for it with all I had. And I think that's what Jeff Purvis knows, too.
Well, I don't know something we mentioned. Jeff Purvis, he did make the Daytona 500 in a great run in the 125. The irony of that, it come through the team of P.J. Jones in the 1 car. That's the team that will field Jeff Purvis tomorrow in the Winston Cup race.
And I don't know if I said this earlier, but Jeff Purvis drove what I thought in the 125 was one of the best races I ever saw him drive up until today.
Very
and
smart race.
he's exceeding that today. This is it's a great run for him. Clarksville, Tennessee boy up the road there from Franklin.
Single file up front. Doesn't look too busy, but look at this.
They're bouncing off each other. They know the race is getting close to an end. They've seen that front pack get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Folks, I just want you to know that is not normal. Those cars waggling and wobbling and bobbling around like that, that is not what we normally like to see or what we normally do.
Kenny Wallace, our Briggs and Stratton cam up on the high side. 77 Kelly Denton moves by underneath. They're 3 wide there.
They're 3 wide, and they got 2 hands full. Great big ones.
Right. 7 cars, single file up front. They've created a big gap. Jeff Purvis picks up another 5 bonus points for leading the most laps in this race. 24 laps to go. Four drivers at the front trying to settle it among themselves. Looks like they're going to have some company when we come back. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Following the Napa 300, Daytona 500 final practice on FX. And tomorrow, NASCAR this morning, 10 a.m. Eastern on Fox Sports Net to get you ready for the Dodge Countdown to Daytona. 11:30 a.m. Eastern on Fox. Our Daytona 500 pre-race show will interview drivers beginning at noon Eastern time. And follow that up with the 43rd annual Daytona 500 here on Fox. Your new home for NASCAR in the first half of season 2001. Jeff Purvis leading 2-time winner Randy LaJoie and Joe Nemechek.
You know, you would expect LaJoie to run good here. This is kind of a racetrack where you got to put it pedal to the metal and hang on to it and let the rough side drag. And he's had a lot of success here over the last few years. There we go, down the back, guys. On top side. Whoa, did he go over?
And it is the 33 of Tony Raines, who brings out the caution.
Buddy, she was up in the air, but she didn't go over.
Here they come back to the line, and that front group fans out somewhat, but stays in line.
21 car trying to get a lap back, but he just couldn't quite make it.
Tony Raines had been fighting an ill-handling car for the last 40 laps.
I have watched him, and he has been in harm's way many, many times, and it finally caught up with him.
5th caution of the day, and that car went for a bit of a flyer down the back straightaway.
It really did. I thought he was going to. He's had so much trouble getting off of turn 2, and finally somebody got him off of that corner.
You see only a little bit of damage, and you see the left front corner where it dug in and came down. That's what's bowed the hood up. And hard to believe after that ride, Raines going to get to keep racing this car. From the blimp, look right in the middle of your picture.
Right there. Just look at that thing. Oh, my boy, what a ride. Kind of looks like Splash Mountain.
Darryl, you had commented he was really losing a lot of ground throughout the run there off turn 2. He just couldn't get off turn 2. It looked like it finally just come around with him.
Yeah, he's been fighting that car off that corner. I've been watching him, and he had bottlenecked people up behind him every lap, but he could go down the straightaway.
Watch this.
Here he comes.
You saw the roof flaps. The roof flaps come up, and that set him back down, and that's exactly what the roof flap's supposed to do. There you see him deploy it again. It acts like a flap on an airplane, sets the thing back down.
He is still driving.
Look at him. He's in it, caught a gear, and he's coming out of there.
Here's another angle. Gets a little tip there from Scott Wimmer. That's all it takes.
The roof flaps did their job.
They really did. That's a great shot.
Looked like Connie Saylor's ride down the back straightaway about 25 years ago.
Dale Jr. had a little run that looked similar to that. Let's see if we can tell what happens here. Wimmer gets alongside of him and probably got into his left rear and turned him off the racetrack.
As you said, Darrell, he had been having to lift off the throttle coming off turn 2 each time, and that little loss of momentum, Scott Wimmer got a run, and we saw the end result. Wow, 18 laps to go here in the Napa 300. This is NASCAR on Fox.
Hi, I'm Michael Waltrip.
The reason why. Tony Raines, wild ride.
We've been struggling with this car off of turn 2, and Scott Wimmer gets a run on him and gets into his left rear quarter. When he does, holy cow, look at that, Larry.
Now have a look at just how quick. We'll speed this replay up. We'll just run it real time. This is actual time.
I think he's fortunate that grass back there was wet, too, because it didn't dig in and flip. It just kind of slid.
Raines has lost the exhaust system on his car, so they have pulled it to the garage. We'll be right back.
300 on Fox is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. By Lowe's Home Improvement Warehouse. Lowe's, improving home improvement. And by Dodge and nearly 3,000 dealers who invite you to come see what's different.
Welcome back to Daytona. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. It'll be 15 laps to go, and on this restart, the cars a lap or more down, led by Mike Dillon in 21, line up to the inside of the leaders. Wonder how many of those leaders can get together and work out a deal to run single file and try to pull away from the pack.
I believe that 21 is going to mess up their strategy temporarily, because he took off there on the last restart, got in front of those guys, and they got to deal with him, and that could draw some other people into the play.
Nobody pitted on that last caution. Everybody had used their 3 sets up that they could use under caution, so everybody's on the same tires. We got a green flag.
Purvis, LaJoy, Nemechek, Jones, Green lead the field to turn 1. Dillon can't get his lap back, but neither can those outside lane cars pull away.
You know, and Purvis has got a mighty strong automobile today, boys. I mean, he's going to be hard to handle. He's got sunshine on his shoulders.
4 cars out front. Jeff Green can't get past that lap car.
Boy, look at that line he took off that corner, Larry. He was right on the bottom, held it there all the way off. Didn't want anybody to get a run on him on the outside.
I think with this package, you definitely need to keep that car on the bottom of the racetrack. Make them go around you on the high side. Don't let them get the bottom of the racetrack.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's snaking that thing down through there, right on the bottom.
It is a 4-car breakaway. And scanning those 4 drivers and their crew chiefs, those 4 have made a deal to run together, single file, try and get away from the pack and settle it amongst themselves.
And what Purvis done, right there at the bottom of the racetrack, halfway down the backstretch, he's doing 2 things there. He's bringing that line with him, trying to break the draft on that pack behind him. Also, he's not letting those cars get a run on the inside of him.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, he gets off the corner so strong, he can use that power off the corner, and they can't get a run on him.
Let's crank it and give a listen as they thunder through turn 1 at 180 miles an hour. did not work. Let's go to the leader's pit, Matt.
Mike, under that caution, Jeff Purvis's crew chief, Doug Richard, told him, switch to the backup box. There's not a rev limiter chip, so you can turn as much as 7,600 RPMs to ensure a good restart. And now the 7 is in the lead. Dick.
Brian Patty, crew chief for 87, Joe Nemechek. He's also with the 7 car that has just taken the lead with LaJoy. 1-1. What do you do from here, Brian? Run the bottom. Run the fucking bottom. Going to try to run on the bottom.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's the answer, on the bottom.
Ken?
Well, back in the 60s, the battle royals of American motorsport were fought between A.J. Foyt and Carnelli Jones. And today, P.J. Jones looks like he may be in for his best finish yet in NASCAR racing. Running in third, now dropping back to fourth in the number 1 car on the outside. Great finish, perhaps, in store for P.J. Jones, dropping another couple of spots. And incidentally, A.J.'s kid's back there in 23rd. Larry Foyt is very much a factor. 2 great racing names back in this 300 as LaJoy continues to lead with still some 27 cars in the lead lap. Mike?
10 laps to go. Here comes Purvis, fighting back for the lead on the outside.
Purvis got shook out of the lead, but he didn't like it. I don't know if he's going to be able to get himself back up there or not, though, because he's got LaJoy and Nemechek, who are teammates.
Boy, he got loose off turn 2.
And almost lost it. Here comes McLaughlin up on the inside in the 20 car, trying to put Purvis away. Matt Kenseth, 17, right with him. Harvick drops back a notch.
This is where having 2 cars working together got rid of Purvis. The 7 and the 87 worked together and shook him right out of the lead.
So, Darrell, is Randy LaJoy right where you'd want to be?
You got it. I mean, he drove by what I thought was the fastest car on the racetrack. I believe he's got the car to beat now. Plus, he's got Joe back there now, you know, kind of protecting for him. So,
LaJoy won this race in 97 and 99. In 97, he also went on to win the Busch Series championship. It's been decades since anybody else pulled that off.
Sure can't count Purvis out because I know that car is mighty strong, but you got 2 teammates right here working together. It's going to be hard to overcome that.
But you got 2 teammates right behind him, the 2 Gibbs cars.
Teammates against teammates right there, and they're all 4 Pontiacs.
Good point.
Purvis and McLaughlin, Chase, LaJoy, and Nemechek. And when they come to the stripe, 8 laps to go.
You know, the theory's always been, Darrell, you don't want to be in the lead because you don't want to let him get a run on you. But as hard as it is to pass, I'm not sure I'm pretty comfortable with I want to be the leader with 8 laps to go.
Well, we've seen Purvis work the bottom really, really well, and he hadn't been very good up high. So we'll have to see if he can get up there and get on the outside. That's the only chance he's got. And he does that.
Whoa! Who just squirreled up Purvis? It looked like coming off the corner like his teammate McLaughlin got into him. That car just about came around.
See, I don't believe he can run outside, or at least he didn't show me.
Let's find out. Here he goes.
I was wrong.
By side with Nemechek for second. Now LaJoy stays low to keep Nemechek in his trap. There's Nemechek's mom, Martha.
Mike, another guy's kind of sneaking back in the picture is last year's winner, Matt Kenseth, in that 17 car. He's got himself in pretty good position right now.
Kenseth is now coming up for third. Purvis up on the outside.
You can get out there and you can get up, you can make a run, but as long as they hold that bottom up like they're doing, I think I might get down on the inside.
Now Purvis still has McLaughlin with him, but here comes Kenseth on the inside, 17.
He's
Harvick with him.
Getting a push with Harvick, and then what we got to remember, even though the 21, the red car's a lap down there, Mike Dillon, that's Harvick's teammate.
You need a partner to dance at Daytona in the draft. Now you need your teammate lined up.
Funny how all these teammates ended up in the front at the end of the day.
Isn't it? 6 laps to go. And all of this infighting here is just allowing those 2 Nemechek cars to get away.
They're looking back in the rearview mirror and loving it. So you guys just keep on running side by side.
All they're doing is sitting there catching their breath because they know they're getting ready to get in a dogfight here in just another lap or 2. But these guys will close back up on them.
Is that Don LaJoy? It sure is. With those double cross fingers. Short track great. Boy, he's working that pole. He's steering that pole real hard, hanging on for Randy.
And what I'm impressed with Randy LaJoie in the 7 car, he's got 65 laps on his left side tires. Darrell, that thing can't be driving that good.
Well, it might have freed it up a little bit, Larry. Maybe it's making it run faster. Just freed it up enough through the corner that it's not banding the car down. He's getting a little better shot off the turn.
5 laps to go.
I know.
Dick Berggren.
They just called the LaJoie and they said, keep it on the bottom. They're telling him, keep it downstairs. No team orders here. Who's ever fastest is going to win amongst these 2 cars.
Now the outside is taken by Harvick. Rather Purvis pulling McLaughlin, trying to get back up on the outside. Taking the long way around.
Purvis is using that power off the corner to get even with them, but he doesn't have the straightaway speed that some of the other cars have. And that, again, could be from just a low gear.
Ride with Kevin Harvick.
But here comes, as Jeff said, Matt Kenseth. Hadn't been in the picture all day. Wasn't last year, but here he is. Those 2 Nemechek cars, they got good straightaway speed, and that's what's giving these guys a fit behind them.
They started together on the front row. And now 4 laps to go. The sun's shining. Hour-and-a-half rain delay early on. We'll settle this one in 10 miles.
Kenseth can close up just like Purvis could off of the turns, but then on the straightaway, these 2 cars in the lead here, they seem to be able to open up a little bit of a gap, and that's what you want to feel and see.
And there's been no breakout by Nemechek. He's made no run on Randy LaJoie. And I think that more than anything is what's allowed them to keep this lead.
Oh, it has. He's got Randy right there where he wants him. He's pushing him along. Plus, he can protect the lead for him. So this is a perfect situation for a team owner.
I think Joe Nemechek knows the only thing that makes sense is being his team car as well, is if he's going to make a run, don't give it to somebody else. Make a run last corner of the last lap. If it works, it works.
Well, what he also knows is that LaJoie's going to run for the championship. He's going to try to run all the races, right. And this is just a part-time thing for Joe.
Well, if those 2 get side by side, would you want to be the 3rd place car? Because they'd open up a big hole in the wind if they got side by side.
Well, what you don't want is just what Joe was having happen there. You don't want to fall back too far and get such a good run that you pull some of these other guys back up to your lead man.
Joe Nemechek has just been told make it 1-2, stay in line. We'll see if he obeys that order.
Wonder who's giving the order. He's the owner.
No, Martha just called him, said, stay right there, son.
3 wide behind them.
Not a pretty 3 wide either.
No. Don LaJoie looking on. Jeff Green in the middle of that mess, right behind the front 5. 2 laps to go.
2 to go, boys.
Last Pontiac win in the series, May of 1998. Buckshot Jones, nearly 3 years ago. Oh, getting turned around.
Oh, no.
Nemechek.
It's Nemechek.
I believe he got into Purvis as well.
He did, and they will run to the caution. This will be the race. They'll take the caution and then complete it.
LaJoie's got his hands full. I'm telling you, that 2 car's got a run on him, and he's going to have to figure out which way he's going to go.
Randy LaJoie, Harvick looking high, looking low. LaJoie drops down, and at the caution, LaJoie leads them to the white flag. They will complete the final lap under yellow. Back in midfield, they're coming across 3 wide. P.J. Jones' car goes to pit lane, torn up in that battle on the backstretch.
Well, we got to take a look at that and see what happened. Here comes Purvis. His car's torn up. Nemechek, here he comes. Nemechek's car doesn't look like it got much damage on it.
Flat left front on Purvis. Right front 2.
Looks like the rear end housing's knocked way over to the right.
Let's have a look in the back
See
straightaway.
what happened over here.
Watch 87.
Nemechek. Kenseth got Nemechek got into his left rear. When Nemechek comes around, he got into the side of Purvis. Boys, I tell you, wonder it wasn't worse than it was.
Be amazing if everybody else got past that. And across goes Nemechek.
Good thing that's paved back there.
Yep.
Oh, Purvis. Almost was. I tell you, it's incredible that Joe was able to do what he did.
Two-time series champion Randy LaJoie. In 96 and 97, he was the champion of this series. After an abortive foray into Winston Cup, he came back to run the Busch Series. He says he likes racing on Saturdays and having his Sundays off. He's about to win this race for the third time. He won for Bill Bumgarner in 97. He won it for James Finch in 1999. And now taking the checkered flag, Norwalk, Connecticut's Randy LaJoie.
Buddy, he drove a great race. He can give his car owner and teammate some credit for that victory.
What a roller coaster day, though. Had to go to the rear of the field twice,
Yeah.
changed 2 tires when everybody else changed 4, and did it with basically a brand new race team.
All right. Now, Joe's car's got some damage on the left side.
But he'll go to victory lane as the winning car owner. Randy LaJoie has scored his 14th career victory and his 3rd in the Napa 300. Let's show you some onboard replays. First from Matt Kenseth.
This ought to be good. He's running up on Joe. It looked like, I don't know if Joe started to try to move over and Kenseth was already there, or if Kenseth kind of got there. Kind of hard to tell.
From Jeff Purvis.
But here's the guy that,
Just nowhere to go. And hits the outside wall as well.
2 great cars, 2 great runs. Purvis, what a great day. All for naught.
From Hamilton.
It's a little dark here. Wow. Man, way to go.
Jeff Purvis's car all torn up, as was his chance to win. We'll be back and meet Randy LaJoie in victory lane after this.
Armor. And the neighbors know you're...
Joe Nemechek congratulates his driver Randy LaJoie on his 3rd victory in the Napa 300 at Daytona. Nemechek himself won this race in 1998. Let's get out of our Coca-Cola winner's circle. Dick Bergeron.
Randy LaJoie for the 3rd time in 5 years. Tell us about that last lap.
Well, I thought Joe, my teammate, I got to thank the Nemechek family, Nemco Motorsports, Evans Motorsports, brand new race team. How about Kleenex? These guys have been around forever. Now we bring them on board. Scott Prox, we had to go down the side here. Goodyear, Shop Towels, I mean, everybody. Carl Wagner, we had a motor today that was good. Went to the back a couple times, had an air gun break, come back up. And then we had a tire get away from us, went to the back, come back up. Got to the front. Here's the car owner right here. What a way to start. It's we had a little rain delay, but all in all, I mean, we're going to be here all year.
Did you not think this day was done when you kept having to go to the back of the pack with pit road problems, Randy?
No, that was my regular pit stop last year, so I don't have to really think nothing of it. It was just same old, but I knew these guys give me an awesome Pontiac. I mean, this must be GM's victory lane because they won the 24 hours last week with their Corvette. I would have wished we could have had a Monte Carlo, but this is our Pontiac, and it was damn good today.
And Joe Nemechek, the team owner, Joe, you were right in the middle of a horrendous situation. What happened to you out there?
Well, we're trying to get this thing to finish 1-2, and Matt had a heck of a run coming on me, and just I tried to stay in front of him, and he had too big of a run. It just turned me around and just couldn't save it. I got to thank all the guys at Wagner Automotive. They built the power plants for these cars, and we've worked awful hard all year to get these things to run, and super job.
Nice job to both of you guys. Congratulations. Mike Joy.
Thanks, Dick. Randy LaJoie is the winner. Pontiac Grand Prix congratulates LaJoie and the Wide Track Attack team on yet another victory. Wider is better. Here's a look at that winning moment, the winning pass.
Yes, sir. He set him up, and I think that what made that happen was his teammate. They doubled up on Purvis there, and they shot by, and Purvis didn't know what hit him because he had the bottom covered. He'd been running that real low line. All of a sudden, they shot up on the outside. I think it took him by surprise.
Randy LaJoie, the winner. He'll lead the points heading to Rockingham next week. We'll have that Busch race on FX. There's Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Green finishes 4th. Mike McLaughlin, first top 10 finish in this event.
McMurray 11th there. That's a good run.
And Scott Wimmer, another rookie.
Jimmy Johnson back up here in the top 5.
Yep, Larry Boyd at top 20. And back through the field. This is just the first race in the NASCAR Busch Series.
What a shame. P.J. Jones run up front all day and then got in that wreck there, finishes 26.
And 18 and the 87. 28th and 29th.
Next week, Rockingham, 2 weeks, Las Vegas, and you'll see those Busch Series races on FX. Also on FX at 5:15 p.m., Winston Cup Happy Hour. The final round of practice is coming up at 5:15 Eastern Time. And tonight on FX, Cops at 8 p.m. And then a special racing edition of America's Most Wanted, searching the killers of Chris Trickle and Mickey Thompson. Tomorrow, NASCAR This Morning. Get your engine revved up at 10 a.m. on Fox Sports Net. The Dodge Countdown to Daytona. Dodge returns at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And the Dodge Daytona pre-race show will interview drivers at noon, bringing you right up to the green flag for the 43rd annual Daytona 500 on Fox. For Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, Chris Myers, Ken Squire, Jeff Hammond, Dick Berggren, Matt Yoakum, Steve Burns, Jeannie Zelasco, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Randy LaJoie on his 3rd victory in the Napa 300. You've been watching NASCAR on Fox.